Hey, what's good, everybody, and welcome to the Big Ticket. I'm your host, Vick3. It's been a while since I've done a big ticket. If you've seen me, if you followed up, last week I was at Penn State with my guy Dante, also with Key in the building. We went out, we had a great time. But this week, hey, Big Ticket's back on. I'm back at it again. This week the Eagles are going up against the Titans, and I thought it's been a while. Let me bring some of my partners through so that way we can discuss this game and also talk about the Eagles' season so far and some of the players that have had some spectacular games so far and has had a good season. But first, let me start off by bringing one of my guests, Coach Dante. Um, Dante, how are we doing today, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Ready to talk some football. Thank you for inviting me on. And we all know everybody. Nick Saban got that gumbo stirred up in that pot, and he looking, and he gonna be ready for tomorrow. So, thank you for inviting me on. Happy to be on here.
Definitely, definitely. If you do not, please go check out Dante's channel. My guy is always doing lives, whether it's NBA, NCAA, NFL. He always got you covered, always giving you great play by play. But next, let me get to the next guy I have here from the Swoop Boys. We got my guy, King Kincaid. King, what's good?
Y'all know what's up. We know what it is, man. It's your boy King, part of the Swoop Boys, and we back at you with that fire content. Appreciate you, Vic, man. Appreciate you thinking of me, my guy.
Definitely, definitely. Listen, when I do these shows, especially like it's been a while, I want to be comfortable. I want to be with my fellas. You know what I'm saying? We have that good conversation. So
Facts.
I got to bring the heavy hitters through.
Facts.
And next on the list, I got my guy, one of a great friend who just recently had a birthday. So all y'all out there, give him those late birthday wishes. We got my guy from the ECG channel. You know what I'm saying? The head honcho, the captain himself. We got Dante. What's good? Oh, and he got the Eagles jersey on too.
Oh,
Represent.
and I got the green light. See this is how you do green lights.
Okay, mood lighting. That's what I like. That's what I like. What's good, my guy? How we doing?
Man, I'm pretty tired. It's been a lot of late nights. I just recently bought God of War. I didn't play the 2008 one. I don't really throw that word masterpiece around, but if y'all some video game heads, go and get that and play it, man. It's a freaking masterpiece, and I'm only like halfway through.
Ooh, listen. I haven't played yet. I haven't played since what was it? The last one that came out with the when he first had his little son. After that,
Yeah,
I haven't played video games since. That's what, like four
that's the one
years
I'm
now?
playing right now. Oh my
Well, no, I'm
god,
talking about the first one that they came out with him. I haven't. That was the only
Oh,
one I
the one
played,
on
and after that, I
Xbox.
stopped. That was the end.
Yeah.
But
all right.
let me get to my last guest, and last but not least, great friend of mine, also ECG family member. You see my guy doing all the shows, the pregame shows. He's on the NCAA show. He got my guy Papa Sora. What's good, Papa? How we doing?
Doing good, doing good. How y'all doing?
We doing great now that you're here. Real quick,
All
let me
right.
just get to the people in the chat because good grief, I just seen so many comments. I wasn't expecting that. Shout out to y'all who came through. I appreciate it. Like I said, I know it's been a minute since I haven't done the big ticket, but you know what I'm saying? You guys out here living his best life. But let me get first of all, let me say what's up to BLSG. My guy is a very loyal fan, always comes through, always retweeting. Appreciate you.
Straight up.
We got my guy Drew Johnson. Thank you so much for coming through again. Another loyal fan. Um, the franchise, Garnier Fruiti's favorite himself. We got Manny the franchise. But appreciate y'all for coming through. Yeah, I will get to your comments. But first, let's just get to this show. Oh, we got a cat up in here. We got a cat on the
They
head.
said cat on the hat, bro. So I got the cat on the hat.
Pepe big chillin'.
Right. I see Dante was up in the chat. Yeah, man, appreciate y'all for coming through, man. Thank you so much. But listen, like I said, it's been a while, so let's get the show started. Um, First question I have from y'all. Well, not a question. Let me just give this information out. Jordan Davis was activated off the IR today. Let me ask y'all the question then, and I'll start off with you, Coach Dante. Let me get your thoughts on his return and what are you expecting from his first game back?
Like I said, I expect him to come in, like I say, as a rotational piece again, to come in, uh, to come in to protect the inside. The Eagles' running game has been, bad. Has been bad lately. You give up 131 to, Texans running back Damian Pierce. You get gashed by the Green Bay Packers, who come in the game with Aaron Jones and with AJ Dillon. So he's there to fill the middle, and it's very good to have Jordan Davis back on that field. especially what's been going on the last couple of weeks with the running game, and the running game been getting back and forward, and all the missed tackles, all the over pursuing and stuff like that. So it's good to put him back in the middle and making sure he's also in game shape. But he's definitely going to beef up that defensive front back up again.
Oh, definitely. Just like franchise said, man, we got more beef up front. So yeah, I'm very excited to see him back. But Tim, let me get your thoughts. What do you think about Jordan Davis' return, and what are you expecting from him in his first game back?
Limited snaps. You know, I hoping that he can not get hurt, stay above float, and just figure out where his groove is at. He's been out for 4 weeks now, so getting him in mixed in with Sue, Joseph, who else is going to be there? Milton Williams is going to be there, and Cox, and Hargrave. So I'm not going to expect that much out of him, but it's definitely helps us in the running game, because we was getting gashed, like Coach Gante said. If everybody watched that the Commanders game, everybody's trying to take that recipe to beat the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh yeah, definitely. And just to advise, one person that will not be playing tomorrow will be Robert Quinn. Looks like he will be inactive. But
happy.
oh yeah, listen, Robert Quinn would have been I think only 2 NFL players that would have played all throughout all games.
Yeah, without a doubt.
He had no bye week. So my guy needed some rest. We don't want any serious injuries, but I'm kind of glad that he's getting some rest, because we're going to need him during these playoffs. We're going to need everyone. All hands on deck. But Sora, let me ask you. Let me get your thoughts on the return of Jordan Davis, and what are you expecting from him in his first game back?
Yeah, we all kind of figured once he went down in Pittsburgh, the next 4 weeks were going to be the hardest. Kind of like Coach said, you had Dameon Pierce. He had his way with the Eagles. You had the Commanders. They were finally able to beat the Eagles. Colts, a little bit. Once Taylor after the first drive, we kind of were able to stop Taylor. And then, of course, Green Bay, just Jones and Dillon were also able. Granted, we won 3 out of 4 of those games. But this was kind of going to be the toughest stretch, especially when you have guys like Maddox, Goddard, now Chauncey. But on top of that, you've got Goddard potentially coming back next week. Maddox potentially coming back next week. So you've gone through your toughest stretch with the injuries that we have had. You're finally getting guys back in time for said playoffs to push for all the goodies, like the number 1 seed, to get the bye week, a playoff games at home, all that stuff. As for Davis, yeah, I can agree a little bit with limited snaps, but I know he said he is eager to play, so I don't think it's going to be... obviously, I don't think they're going to throw him to the Wolves and be like, all right, you're playing all these snaps, but I don't think it's going to also be as limited. I think they're going to give him just a bit more, especially now that with the addition of Sue and Joseph. So it's going to be interesting to see.
It will be very interesting. Dante, let me get your thoughts. What do you think on the return of Jordan Davis, and what do you expect from him on his first game back?
I agree with Tim. It's like limited play. He's only averaging like 35 snaps a game anyway, so expect him to be in for like 10 or 15, not making a huge impact. He's a young guy. They don't want to force him back. You guys, you only lost 2 games at this point, so trying to stay conservative. You see what the Rams just did for Matthew Stafford. He's out for the rest of the season on injured reserve. So you protect your players because they expect him to be back for the Rams. You do the same thing with Jordan Davis, even though he's not a veteran yet. He's super important to the middle of the field. He doesn't get a ton of tackles, but like I pay attention to like PFF grades, and he's got like a 77 grade right now out of all defensive tackles. So that's really, really good when he's in the game. So, the players around him play better. Obviously Hassan Reddick, and I would love to see what Robert Quinn was going to do with him in there too, but I know he's out for this game as well. So, making an impact just like he did at Georgia when he's actually in the game. This is what everybody expects. When Ndamukong Suh came in, Linval Joseph came in for you guys, everybody thought that like the tackling was going to improve. And like I told you guys, it's Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's out now. And not like he wasn't having any tackling issues as well, but the secondary is the ones that can't really tackle. Your defensive line is okay. what's the linebacker, the light skinned guy? I always draw a blank on his name.
TJ Edwards.
Yeah,
Edwards?
TJ Edwards, when he's playing, he's a pretty good tackler of the ball, but everybody else is kind of suspect. Arm tackling, diving for tackles, grabbing people's feet. You saw what happened with the Packers last week. If they just would have kept with the run game, it would have been an absolute disaster. But just because he comes in, I don't think it's going to fix your tackling issues. That's off-season reps that they got to get in. That's going to be one drill that they're going to people are going to come to practice early next year because the Eagles are going to, if anything happens to your guys' season and you guys don't win the Super Bowl, that's the one thing that's going to be highlighted is the Eagles can't tackle in the secondary. It's going to be a big yellow check mark next to that. That's going to be the number one thing they work on. And how do you work on it with player injuries too? You know what I'm saying? It's like the hardest thing to work on now, especially in the NFL with all the the injury precautions.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. But with that being said, though, I know the issue is a lot with tackling. But let me ask: will the return of Davis be what the Eagles need to help them, keep Derrick Henry in check? Tim, let me start off with you.
Man, to me, Dante, you hit it right on the head. The tackling was poor.
Yeah.
I think in their secondary, and corners are not supposed to be your tackling, right? For Bradbury, good Lord, he cannot. He is terrible at tackling. Slay, he don't like to get dirty. And there's another thing though. We need to talk about the gap integrity. Like, I don't know if it's a lack of trust between the defensive linemen, and the linebackers. I don't know.
Hey, pause.
Fact.
You hate to see it.
But yeah, man, I don't understand. I don't understand the gap integrity, man. It's like, if they don't trust, if it's the back or the front, I don't know what it is. I'm just hoping. I mean, last week it was what 5.1. They've given up the 5.1.
Yep.
You got King Henry coming in, and he's been averaging almost like 3 because their offensive line has been getting backed up. You know what I mean? So, it's about not getting pumped. That's what it's about. You're a fool, son. Thanks for calling it out, though, B.
Hey, you gotta keep you on your toes, He said you gotta be patient with the D. Hold up.
That's what she said. But Sora. Here we go.
Oh man, hold on.
Hold on, we got another guest, and I appreciate my guy for coming through. We got what I call the master of the Twitter Spaces. We got my guy Shay Dub. Shay, what's good with you?
What's up, y'all?
What's up, Shay?
What up, Shaq?
How you doing, my guy?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
you
perfect.
fine.
What's up, man? Yeah, I'm sorry for my tardiness, man. I was just coming in from working.
Nah, man, listen, I appreciate you taking out the time to come on. But let me ask you, Shay, since you just came on. What do you think about, the return of Jordan Davis? Do you think that he's what the Eagles need, to try to, help quell Derrick Henry in the run game?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I've heard someone else say this before, but it's a great analogy for him. Jordan Davis is a force multiplier against the run defense and our defense as a whole. And when he's in there, like the stats speak for itself, how much better we do when he's there as opposed to when he's not in there. And now that we have Sue and Joseph behind him for depth, I'm hoping that bringing him back in a way somewhat transforms our run defense because we really need it. We need a spark there, and especially against Derrick Henry.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We're going to need it. Sora, let me ask you, with the return of Davis, is that what the Eagles defense was looking for, what they sorely missed, in his departure? And will he be enough to try to help, Derrick Henry?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the return of Davis is going to help slow Henry down a little bit, especially straight up through the middle. The main problem with Henry is going to be who's going to have to stop him on the edge, and that's going to have to come up to, obviously, your edge rushers and your linebackers if they get past it, or if they get past the edge rushers. But going up through the middle, absolutely. With, say, if your package is Sue and Davis, or Davis and Joseph, or all three, because sometimes Gannon has 5 defensive linemen up there. It's gonna help stuff up the middle, but again, the main problem with Derrick Henry and any running back for the time being is gonna be who's gonna stop him running on the edge, on the outside.
Yeah, That is a great question, Dante. As a Jaguars fan, you see the Tennessee Titans 2 times a year. You've known and you've seen Derrick Henry many of times. Do you think the
Hmm.
return of Davis is what the Eagles need to try to help slow him down?
No. Um, what the Titans do from just watching them, you will never see Derrick Henry run up the middle of the field when they're in big yardage situations, meaning anywhere from their one to the red zone. He's an outside runner for sure. And if I'm game planning, the same thing that I mentioned before, your secondary can't tackle. What do you think Derrick Henry is going to do? If he's able to get to the outside, Jordan Davis is not going to get there that fast because Derrick Henry's a fast guy for his size too.
Hmm.
So if they're not able to wrap him up, or I mean, you can't stack one side of the field over the other because Ryan Tannehill is just going to do the pat on the butt like on Madden. And he's going to go the other way. You know what I'm saying? So, to be honest, there's not a lot that you could do. I mean, the Jaguars are okay because we have good linebackers that can tackle. Fudikasi and what's his face? I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but
Boyd?
yeah, Devin Lloyd. They're really good at tackling everybody. So, but if he, telling you, if he takes it on a draw or something to the outside, it's over. Because you guys can't tackle. There's not a lot that Jordan Davis is going to be able to do. Like I said, me and Tim totally agree. He's not. He's going to have limited snaps already. And what are you going to do? Line him up on to play defensive end? That's never been Jordan Davis's game. I mean, it would be interesting to see, but you gotta have to catch him because he puts on the Jets too. I mean, he runs. I was telling my dad this on the phone the other day because my dad loves Derrick Henry, and I was like, the way he runs, he doesn't look fast on film. It's just like why is he so? He takes very very big strides as well as a running back, and he runs straight up top.
That guy.
Yeah, he was straight up top. He said it reminds him of Optimus Prime when he's running.
Honestly, what Derrick Henry reminds me when he's running, the juggernaut. You give him a little momentum,
That's
you get
it.
him going, then it's a wrap. But
Bro,
if you catch him in those short steps before he gets in stride, you can
yeah.
take care of him handily.
He kind of reminds me of the Nigerian Nightmare. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Get them big old thighs, and he's picking them up, and in that long stride, it's
This is what I mean. This is what I would do, honestly. And I'm no NFL, defensive coach, so take this with a grain of salt. But if I'm coaching high school like I used to, I would say, all right, we used to do what was called a phantom spy, and you guys probably know what this is. You have one linebacker where whatever in the middle. I would run a 3-4 defense just to see. I don't know what kind of scheme you guys run, but I believe it's 3-4. I believe you guys run a 3-4 most of the time. But I would have one middle line, one Mike linebacker, focus on man to man that guy the whole time, and the other one play a phantom spy. If they pass the ball, drop him back in coverage. If he's not, you're helping your other Mike linebacker out. Like that's how it would game plan around this, or have an outside linebacker do the same thing. I mean, it's just so hard to game plan against them when they're not going to run up the middle when he's there. when Jordan Davis comes back, it's just never been Derrick Henry's thing, man.
Coach, let me ask you. Listen, Titans used to be the Houston Oilers. That was the team that was dear to your heart. Now you got Tennessee Titans. They've been blessed with two of the biggest running backs in creation with Eddie George and now Derrick Henry. You've watched Derrick Henry more than anyone else. You watch Derrick Henry in and out. So let me ask you: does the return of Jordan Davis help out the Eagles with trying to slow down Derrick Henry?
Nah. Even if Jordan Davis was there, Derrick Henry still will be a load to stop. Derrick Henry can give it to you. Derrick Henry can just he's about like he's not a balanced running back for his pass catching, far as going between the tackles and running on the outside. Hey, he can do it. And most of the Eagles' problems is most in the interior linemen, in the interior. Teams are running up the middle. up the middle most of the time. Sometimes they'll test the outside, but most of the time, problems be in the middle. That because not saying the players. Well, I can say the players are the problem because they're also missing tackles. That's not a coaching issue. That's more on the player. If you can't get off a block, if you're getting pushed back, if you can't get a penetration in the run game, then that's more on the players than a Jonathan Gannon issue. So you can hold them accountable for the coverages, but the tackling and not getting off the blocks and getting pushbacks consistently, that's more on the player. So I still think he would be a load to stop if Jordan Davis was there. But it's not too much you can do with that guy running downhill like that. And then big as he is, people running away from him and afraid to tackle him and arm reaching, something that Eagles already have been doing. It's going to be tough. But at the end of the day, Eagles got to learn how to get out blocks. They're getting pushed back. They're not really getting penetration. And they're missing tackles. You can't allow every running back to get to your secondary. And you know your secondary is not built to tackle anybody. It starts up front with the linebackers and the defensive line. So they got to do a better job of getting more penetration and not letting Derrick Henry this Sunday get into the secondary. If they can do that, they should be fine, because you got to figure out that's what the Titans going to mostly do. They're going to try to slow pace the game with Derrick Henry.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. And I'm hoping that the Eagles have a good front of Davis. You got Cox, and you got Milt Williams out there. If he can get in the mix at defensive end, that would look good, especially if you got Hargrave. That's the big Bubba up front right there. That's a heavy front four. But
hey, Vic, I got something interesting for you before you move to the next topic. This is the heat map. It looks like a brawl. But this is the heat map of Derrick Henry on what side he decides to run during every single play that he's ever had in his career. Do you see him running out the middle of the field?
Yeah, that tough.
Don't do it. Don't do it now. You know what I'm saying? And I remember the left side. Oh yeah, I've seen that twice. 90-yard runs against Jacksonville. Let's not get it twisted.
Hey, that's one of the points I'm hoping that the Eagles take care of in this draft is focus on the defensive end. You got my guy Will Anderson out there from Alabama picking up quarterbacks. Did you see that? My guy literally just picked homeboy up and was just like, "Are we good? Do I have to throw him down?"
That's Jalen Carter.
But Jalen Carter.
Yeah. That was crazy.
That was Jalen Carter.
That's wild. But
he can play both defensive tackle and defensive end.
He's a freak.
That boy's a dog, man.
Or you got Tyree Wilson out there who's injured. That's someone who you could probably get in possibly the second, third round. Double up on that.
Ojulari.
Pause. But let me ask, we're talking about, gaining a player. Let me focus on the loss of a player now. And I'll start off with you, Dante. We lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson for the rest of the season. How big is that loss for this team?
Absolutely incredibly. It's incredibly impactful how much that he had made your team better. Now, this is the first week you're going to be without him, so a lot of people got to step up. I don't know if it was. I know Reed Blankenship came in and did his thing, but you're running off the adrenaline of coming in the game, knowing the assignment, that team game planning around C.J. Gardner-Johnson being there. Now this is a full week without him, so the Titans' game plan has totally changed. He might get targeted this week to really see how much he can really do. But I mean, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, even when he was with the Saints, still an all-around player, can play everywhere. I mean, you're talking about, like Jalen Ramsey doesn't get a lot of credit, but he can play everywhere on the field. If you need him to play safety, he plays safety at Florida State. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson reminds me of like the second coming of that type of player that's like a Swiss Army knife on defense. The only thing about him, of course, was his tackling issues, just like the whole secondary. But there's a reason why he's a ball hawk. There's a reason why he's one of those guys that's like, I like to say that he's like a health pack for the defense. Whenever one side or the other one's getting beat up all night, that's where they're going to line him up to bring some help out. He's kind of like Minkah Fitzpatrick in that way. You know what I'm saying? He's just all over the field. So, I mean, it's an incredibly big blow. If it's, this is the time to see how much depth is on your team now. One full game without him, because you brought him in and he had an incredible impact, and you guys need to re-sign him. He needs to be an Eagle for life, by the way. And you're really going to see it this week on what they're really about. Because I hate it for you guys. I really do. When I saw him get hurt, I would keep him out as long as the season goes the way it is, and if Reed Blankenship plays good enough for you guys to win games, even if they're close, keep him out as long as possible until you get to the playoffs. Make sure you have a healthy CJ Gardner-Johnson.
I saw he went on IR, so the earliest he can return is week 17.
Yeah.
Oof.
I thought it was week 16. Okay.
Yeah. Sora, let me ask you, how big was the loss of, the league leader in interceptions in CJ Gardner-Johnson, and what does that mean for this Eagles defense?
My boy. I massacred him. That one hurt. I ain't even gonna lie. It hurt saying that. If it were Kavon Wallace, I'd be a lot more worried.
But shout out to Kavon who made a key play though. Shout out to Kavon. He made a key play. Hey, that play
I think he got away a little bit with Holden there though. I think he got away with it.
My guy did what he did. I got to give him one positive because there's been a lot of negatives so far in his career. But go ahead. I apologize.
Yes, there. No, you're good. I'm just saying. But I mean, it was a good first performance that we saw from Reed Blankenship. But pretty much exactly what Dante said. You got to see him. You got to see it do it, or you got to see him do it again. I know everybody has heard the Malcolm Jenkins interview. Potentially, he could come back, but yeah, you got to look at free safety depth now, because
that's ridiculous. Don't bring him back.
You got
we can't try to bring up everyone.
You got Anthony Harris. No, I'm just
practice squad,
throwing no names there.
Messenger.
Right? I'm just saying in general, man. Like we can't bring everybody back.
Yeah, I know. Anthony Harris, he's still on the Denver's practice squad, so you could sign him away. But depth now for safety is very important, and it's been a big need all off season until you got Chauncey. But even for the short, because he's been out before, but not for an entire game, but like for a part of games, he's been out before, and you saw the hit there. Now you've lost him till week 17, potentially the rest of the regular season, if they so choose to rest him. So now you kind of Howie's got to do exactly what they did when they lost Jordan Davis. He's got to figure out who's available and who he has to sign.
Yeah, definitely. Shay, let me ask you, what's the impact of the loss of CJ Gardner-Johnson, and what does that mean to our defense?
Oh man, you're talking about. He's been one of, if not the best center fielder safeties this year. Especially being able to turn the ball over, and we're missing that for a few weeks. That's tough. And safety is like one of those positions that we really didn't need to have any injuries at. Like, what I'm saying? We had a lot of depth in a lot of different places, but safety was the one that I think a lot of us were worried about. Especially considering the fact we thought the backup safety was going to be Kayvon. So it was like, oh, God, like, what are we going to do now? Fortunately, I feel like Reed Blankenship might be able to show more of a post in games more so than Kayvon has. At least he's done so far. Another thing is, for the time being that we don't have Chauncey, we're not necessarily playing a bunch of high-powered passing offenses. I think this week we got the Titans. Next week it's the Giants next, and then the Bears.
It is the Titans, Giants.
So in that
Bears week 15.
Yeah.
And then Dallas Christmas Eve, week 16.
So in that 4-week window, the only game that where you really going to have a concern about a vertical pass attack is the Cowboys. So I feel like if it is a 4-week injury, we can just maintain and kind of continue what we've been doing as far as eliminating big plays from happening, especially against a few passing offenses that aren't typically heralded too high. Then I think we'll still be able to stay afloat. This would have probably been a worse injury to deal with if this happened earlier in the season.
Oh, definitely.
We played the Vikings, we played the Cowboys twice, and we played who else was vertical? Especially that Vikings game, that would have been tough. But I think we'll still be able to maintain. There will definitely be there's going to definitely be a discrepancy in talent for sure. He's hard to replace a guy that's playing that high. Like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is playing at a damn near all pro level.
My
So
guy's averaging an interception a game.
he's
He,
going
he
to
was
he's
he was
going to
coming
be
through it.
missed greatly. It's just fortunately, I think because of who we're playing the next few weeks, it may not hurt us as much. I mean, I could be wrong.
Mhm.
We'll see. I'm okay. I hate to see this injury happen. There are other injuries that happened in our team that I was more worried about. Jordan Davis was one of them, and Avante Maddox was the other one too. But this one as well. But I feel like I think we'll be okay.
So if I could throw some advanced analytics in there for you. So this is interesting. He leads the league in interceptions with 6, right? He is one of the most targeted safeties in the league. It's in one-on-one coverages. He's number 3 at 38 targets, but he's second in receptions allowed at 29. So he's not the. It's almost like Trayvon Diggs. Not the best coverage one-on-one guy. He's better when he's with somebody. That's what I was saying before. But everybody knows his impact. If he calls a turnover, all that receptions allowed is forgiven. you know.
Definitely is. Coach, let me ask you, how big was the loss of C.J. Gardner-Johnson? What does that mean for this Eagles defense?
Anybody got like that plays center fielder and that's lead leader in interceptions. That's a huge loss. Definitely, anytime you need a play, you had a big turnover. C.J. Gardner Johnson got it for you. He was doing that same thing in New Orleans, like ECG said. He's not the best of coverage. If you have to get on somebody one on one, he's not the best. But if you're in zone coverage, he's one of the best of doing that and playing over the top. So that's going to be a huge loss. And next man up, Blankenship. Blankenship got a big interception. That was not an easy interception that he caught. Jumping that route, and Aaron Rodgers them was driving down the field. They were really hot coming up out of there, and Blankenship made a good play. And also, there was a play late in the game, a big tackle that he made for a loss. So he played one hell of a game. But let's see can he do it again this weekend, which is going to be a little tough. You're going to have to come up and support the running game a lot. I don't think the Titans will throw a lot unless you stop them in the run game. But other than that, that could be a huge loss. And Blankenship the next man up.
Definitely. And Drew Johnson, you make a great point because the loss of Avante Maddox, that was huge. Also, that left us spinning around, and then you got Josiah Scott. You can count. Maybe his production isn't as great as the other two, but the loss of him, that's where we got. Where we're at now with Blankenship. But Tim, let me ask you, how big is the loss of C.J. Gardner Johnson, and what would it mean to this defense?
It means a lot. Shout out to Blankenship for being ready. The next man mentality is like that's depth on the football team is it's big. Y'all know how I feel about Kayvon Wallace, so we ain't gonna even go there. But hey, like you guys said, you can go get Harris. Who was behind Harris? I think it was Jarosky Tart. I don't know if he's still.
Yeah, I was thinking about Tart.
Yeah, Tart's still out there. I know he couldn't really get down to defense in the lingo. He missed a lot of camp due to like some personal issues. But I feel like he would be somebody. He's a thumper. And so is Blankenship. He's a thumper. He's not as athletic as everybody thinks he is. He's a very smart, intelligent safety. People were surprised that he was playing with the second unit because he was making plays in training camp and hey, like I said, man, next man up mentality. Let's go. Max is definitely a loss though because if you see like the last 2 weeks, they've been getting at him. They've been going at him every game. Opening drive, they're going after Josiah Scott. So
yeah,
you know what I mean.
Maddox should be back next week, I believe.
Hey, they put Josiah Scott to work last weekend. They showed him.
They be going at him.
Okay. And speaking of next
at the right
man
place
up,
at the right time.
oh, heck yeah. But speaking of the next man up, Shay, let me ask you, what's your confidence level in the rookie, in Blankenship, in filling in that safety position?
I I think he can continue to play solid for us as long as they don't ask for too much from him. Um, I like that touchdown with Christian Watson. I feel like defense, the scheme put him in a bad position where
Yeah, because that boy ain't that good.
they put him in a space with a 4-3 athlete, and then you wonder what happened. You wonder why he ran all them yards back. You know, you got to put him, just keep him safe, keep him in 2 man, and just protect him. I feel like as long as you can make sure he's able to make plays in front of him and not behind him, he's decent at closing. So as long as he's able to continue to do that, and I feel he'll be fine. But it's going to be very imperative that Marcus Epps steps up too.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to step up too now. Like he's got to start making more better plays. He's been kind of getting got a little bit the past couple of weeks. So
I will agree because he's been able to get by because of Gardner.
He started out really well.
You're right. Drew was right. It was Epps on that touchdown with Watson. It was Epps. That's what I'm saying.
I was gonna say that was Epps, and then they relied on Blankenship to hopefully get the tackle to stop it, but Watson was gone by the time Epps was able, or not Epps, Blankenship was able to get into a position.
Like I said,
poor angle.
They both had just poor angles.
He'll be able to be okay for a few weeks.
It was just poor angles, and he just outran them to the sideline. It was 2 people. I forgot it was 2 people right there. And they just had 2 poor angles. One of them got. Go ahead.
That was a 4-3 speed being 4-3, man.
Yeah, but you got to make 2. One of them guys got to make a play. That was just they had poor angles. It was 2 of them right there, and he outran both of them on that sideline.
Poor angling and miscommunication.
Yeah. And that's another thing I worry about. How's the communication going to be in the back end? Because another thing that CJ is really good at is the zone matching. Mm-hmm. The communication in the back. That's been really good this year. And CJ is a big part of it. So we're going to miss that too.
Most definitely.
Yeah, communication is going to be a big key. Coach, let me ask you, what's your confidence level in Reed Blankenship playing and filling that safety role?
I'm not an Eagles fan, so I'm gonna plead the fifth on that. But like I say, because I wouldn't say I haven't seen him enough to give you a confidence level of him. So that's I can go judge by just only last week, only what I've seen. And like I say, a big interception. As long as he plays his role and put him in situations where he can be successful. Again, Gannon's defensive scheme on passing game is absolutely atrocious. You got guys playing 10 to 8 yards off the football. That's too much space. Christian Watson had the easiest slant that I ever seen. Jordan Love hits a right there in stride, right there with a 4.3 speed in stride. He just outruns 2 guys. Jonathan Gannon got to put these, for his passing game, Jonathan Gannon got to put these guys in better situations, man. Too many receivers run wide open over the middle, playing 10 yards off of the football, which giving them easy access to run a slant, to run an easier screen, to run a stick route, to run a comebacker. Jonathan Gannon got to put these guys in a passing game in better situations for that because their guys are just, Green Bay, Jordan Love looked at like a Hall of Famer out there. The way he was zipping the ball in, the way he was throwing the ball, those are throws that quarterbacks gain confidence off of right there. Those easy slant routes and stuff like that. Jonathan Gannon gotta be better at the coverage schemes.
Listen, Jordan Love needs to send Jonathan Gannon a bouquet of flowers, chocolates, whatever, because now the talk in Green Bay is should they move on from Aaron Rodgers? Yeah. Like the Packers fans are already talking about it right now from that, that little showing that Love had.
They do that all the time. Throw one touchdown pass on a slant. And Christian Watson, I give it to him. He's got burners. But any other day, it's the garbage time monster Christian Watson that everybody's seeing. Like, they need to stop the cat, man. Like, Aaron Rodgers, the better quarterback.
But I will say this real fast. I think Rodgers, and I've said it for the past 2 seasons, Rodgers is losing a step. The throws aren't there. You know what I mean? Like, he's not as sharp as he's used to be. It could be a lot, maybe the team around him, the offensive line. I know David Bakhtiari is a big loss for them. But Rodgers hasn't looked the same. Like I said, last year, I didn't believe he was the MVP. I don't think he deserved that award.
I agree with you. And I got roasted for having him number 10 on my top 40 quarterbacks list. Is he a top 10 quarterback right now? Absolutely not. Regression is a real thing. Not everybody's Tom Brady. That's what we all expect out of our great players, is everybody to be like Tom Brady, and it doesn't happen like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I just want to make a point. Like I'm still confused as to why once Jordan Love got in the game, we weren't blitzing. Why do we do that? When guys come in here and like they aren't experienced, we don't blitz. Like we're not harassing them. We just kind of do the whole rush forward and drop back and just let them do what they want. I didn't understand it at all.
And that's all on Jonathan Gannon and his philosophy and the way he plays his defense. Like that's the thing I think that after this season, this is what I'm hoping that the scenario comes up where there's a head coaching position and Gannon fills that role. We can move on. Like I said, Vic Fangio, he's already in house. That is the man who created the defense that he's trying to implement. So I think it would be best to move on to Vic, but we'll see how things play out. But yeah, Jonathan Gannon, like that's something that's constantly been said.
Hey, he's not aggressive. My bad, Vic. I got a quick timeout, right quick.
Right.
Let me call a quick timeout on Jonathan Gannon. So, right a bit, you got two good corners. You got corners, right? That can play on the island by themselves, right? And you got safety help. So why is you're playing your corners 10 yards off of the ball like they can't cover anybody? Like you don't have a Darius Slay, you don't have a James Bradbury who can play on the island by themselves and take some chances and start bringing pressure and heating up guys. You got the defensive front to do it. You can bring a linebacker. You can bring a linebacker if you want to, but he do got cover cornerbacks that can get on the island by themselves. And I don't understand why is they all of a sudden playing 10 yards off the ball and you allowing these guys to get eaten up at the line of scrimmage because they're 10 yards off the ball and you're allowing guys to run slants and stop routes and easy screens and stuff like that. And like I say, that's all on Jonathan Gannon right there. So again, you got covered cornerbacks that can play on the island if need to be. So at the end of the day, I don't understand that.
I definitely agree.
Can I call a timeout too? Let's all give it up for Jackson State won another SWAC championship as they send Deion Sanders off. Shedeur Sanders should be in the Heisman voting. It's absolutely ridiculous. That dude has 3,000 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 5 on the ground as well. Only thrown 6 interceptions. It's absolutely blasphemous that they don't have him in there.
I got another timeout for you. So I didn't know he was this bad, but Clemson's quarterback is dog water. He is.
I told you, CG, that dude is trash.
His first.
I'd like to call a timeout as well once again. I'd like to call a timeout as well once again. That's the second year DJ Uyunglele has broken my heart.
Yo. Hold on, let me call a timeout right quick. Do we think Deion Sanders will be taking his son with him to Colorado?
Yeah. Both of them, yes.
I think he'll leave one.
And Travis Hunter, they're all gone.
He's gonna take his favorite.
I heard he's gonna take the quarterback Shedeur and Travis and leave Shiloh. That's what I heard.
Listen, Colorado,
he's gonna take his favorite
congratulations to y'all. You made a smart decision.
I didn't think they were going to, but they just rebuilt that whole all their facilities and everything down there too. So, hey man. If anybody can bring the swag back to Colorado, because Colorado used to be some dogs, like in the early 2000s and the 90s.
In the 90s,
they were great.
Especially in the 90s.
Shout out to the Colorado AD, sir. You have just earned yourself a contract extension because with that one move, you just rebuilt your program.
I hope Deion's ready for the sellout calls. Him leaving HBO. You know what I'm saying? They're going
Tim,
attack.
You know it's coming.
He left. I'm not surprised.
You know it's coming, but nobody wanted to step up to the plate that was a former player and come to HBCUs. It's Eddie George's time to go ahead and step up for Tennessee State and get their program up and him to carry the mantle. Deion planted the seed. They cannot blame that on him. If anything, they should be congratulating him that he actually made not only Jackson State, who used to suck, they never even saw an 11-win season, and now they have an 11-win season, an undefeated season, and 2 SWAC championships, which they never had in their program history. That is not Deion Sanders' responsibility moving forward.
I mean, there's only I only can think of two with Doug Williams and Deion, right?
Walter.
Yeah, Doug Williams changed it around.
Gramblin's always been good too.
Yeah.
I don't think Jackson State's been good since Walter Payton was there, right?
They haven't been good in a long time.
They
never had 11 wins ever.
For a lot of kids right now, the first time they've heard of Jackson State is because of Deion Sanders. Let's be honest.
For sure.
You got
he literally put them on the map. Now he's going to do wonders in Colorado also. I was going to say, just imagine what the transfer portal is going to look like. How many players are going to Colorado now?
You know how many kids are in the transfer portal right now? 26,000.
For real?
Yes.
Look, shout out to
They
whoever got to do that
did-
paperwork.
Bro, they never did this when I was in college, man. They didn't do this.
Time out, Vic.
Bro, I would
Vic,
have,
what's
bro.
wrong?
Because you had to sit out a year when we were in college, too.
Everybody
Yeah,
get the
yeah,
baton out.
Yo, I went to Pacific, right? After I went to Pacific, they got a new coach. I was like, I'm out, right? Because I already know I wasn't gonna get no burn. I hopped in the transfer portal. They like, if you go down, you can play. If you go up, you got to sit out. I was like, damn, man. Why, man, my mom should have had me like 2098 or something.
Right.
Straight up, bro.
On the
Damn,
A ball
man.
for years. They finally got it right.
The transfer portal should only be for JUCO players. Anybody else agree with that?
Yes, thank you. Yes,
Nah, you know
yes.
what? I don't.
You
for the
chose
fact
that school. You chose to accept that school.
But how many kids got burned because they chose a school and then the coach wants to be an asshole, don't want to start a player
Yeah,
for whatever the
you
reason,
think
whatever
about the
political
politics,
reasons
man.
behind it,
I'm-
and then
I'm
they're
with
stuck
the
at a
player.
school they
Not
don't have a
thinking about the
future.
Politics, man. It's always politics in football, man. Unfortunately, it's always there, and that's why these guys leave.
I think the balance came back to the players, and now we have equal power. Players have power. We all know coaches and schools have their power. I think it's good the way it is now. People are upset because, let's be honest, we're all selfish. We want football and college football how we want it. But when things are changed, we're going to get upset. But we don't really realize the lives that it affects, the people that are actually playing.
But Vic, we can say that every time a coach leaves.
Yeah, and
Well,
they
that's
Because
one of the
there's
reasons
always
people
kids left
support other
behind.
schools.
yeah.
Well, with the coach leaving, I understand it too, because you were promised something from that coach. He's no longer there to fulfill that promise, so you got to move on.
I don't know. That's what is so interesting about the whole topic of the NIL and the
I love
transfer
it.
portal too,
Hey.
because there's no wrong answer, and there's
You can
always
go-
a rebuttal to the
you
other
can
side.
Go to a rabbit hole. You can go to a
Yeah.
rabbit hole. I'm still upset that you're allowed to make money. I mean, because I was like, listen, I was eating ramen noodles every night, B. I couldn't even afford a stick of deodorant, B.
hmm
I believe it.
I remember, what was that when UConn won the national championship? One of their players came on and was like, "Yeah, like we're celebrating now, but I got to go home to basically eating ramen noodles. I have nothing when I go home."
Straight up.
And that, like I said, you're on the national stage. You just earned your college billions of dollars, and none of that comes to you. Nah, I like the way the balance is shifted now. I like the way that goes.
Oh, well, you want to hear another one? You want to hear another one? When you're in a video game and they take your likeness?
Yep.
Bullshit.
Hey, that's what started it all. That's what started everything right there.
Yeah.
Hey, and then when they gave that up, my boy Nelson, he played at Eastern Michigan. He said they sent me a check for $95, but had me in the game for all 4 years.
Hey, listen, he got more than me. I got a check for $65.
Damn. And he played D1. He only got $30 more. $30 a division.
So your boy destroying that he had to either close his YouTube channel, which he wasn't making money from, or play.
Oh yeah.
But the thing with that's another touchy one. But to me, he's trying to like backpedal now. It's like, okay, you understand the rules before you started it, but now you want to go and try out for all these teams where if you just would have stayed, he was a Swiss Army knife. He could punt and he could kick really, really well, and he was athletic. He probably could have made it to a school or to an NFL team. Then he went and go play in the Canadian League, and you heard the rumors about what he was doing in the Canadian League, right?
What was he doing?
He was better than everybody. There's a bunch of players that came out on a forum that played for the Argonauts, and they said he didn't like to practice. They wanted to use him as a Swiss Army knife, and he didn't want to get hit, even though that's the thing that he claimed.
Oh wow.
And it just seemed like he didn't care about the team. He only cared about his YouTube channel. So it's like,
I would
can't be an ass teammate either.
He's making
Because
more
if
money
he's
now
doing
doing
Mason
that
for-
and about the hits. So I mean, it's whatever. You know.
Yeah, I agree, because if he makes it on the Canadian team, what does he get? Whatever they make in the CFL.
But he wants to be a
You're talking
football
about a
player so
YouTube
bad.
channel.
You can't
Yeah,
have
but
it
when you
both.
talking about getting some publicity to your YouTube channel, now you're official. I mean, like, now he got credibility with those kids that are watching him. Like, yo, he's a pro. He's been through it. That helps out the channel, not the career so much on the football end, but that channel, I guarantee you, the profits have increased.
I think he wanted to do both when he realized YouTube was going to be more profitable. Plus, he would not have to take the hits on top of that.
Yep.
Like, well, shoot, why not? And look what he's
But
doing.
even Pat, I was gonna say, even Pat McAfee said, like, he's a decent punter. He sucks at kicking the ball, but that's pretty much it. If they use him for that, you're gonna know what he's for. He's gonna be a gimmick player. So as soon as you see him on the field, you know what's good.
Exactly. I don't know.
you don't
He
do
was
so much
he was good enough to play. I just don't. I've watched a couple of his videos and he's kind of annoying because he's like, yeah, I'm gonna sit here and kick 65-yard field goals, but then it's like, why didn't you just stay in college and then had your YouTube channel after? Because he would have been eligible for NIL, last year.
Oh,
Oh,
Wow.
So if you're looking into the multiverse of things, he could have just done YouTube. They said don't monetize your YouTube. That's all he had to do. He could have created a following. As soon as NIL hit, he could have went to the monetize button on YouTube. All the millions of subscribers he had at that point in time, because nobody cared. People were subscribing even before the money came. Even after the money came, they didn't care. People subscribe to your channel because they like your content. They're not subscribing because you have millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying?
very true. Yeah.
So it's like you kind of shot yourself in the foot. Now you ain't playing football.
I'm pretty sure he regrets that after he sees that, in hindsight.
That's why he's still out there kicking 65-yard field goals at some high school.
hey, he's always and then he's always going like doing like 1-on-1s and stuff like that. I mean, when his channel started, he was basically doing like corners be like and all that type of stuff. He was doing funny stuff, and then he turned it into where he was kicking field goals and showing his talent. And everybody like, why you ain't playing? And then he would drag on. Let's be honest, he was in there capping, putting on them thumbnails and stuff like, why am I not in the NFL and stuff like that. So, hey man,
he's a celebrity now. So
yeah,
I mean, it is.
But let's be honest though, we all went to college. We were all broke. When you get a little bit of money, oh man, that changed your little world right there.
And that money, in your eyes, big money. Yeah, you're gonna take it.
Oh,
hey, what up?
Yeah.
Hey, what up,
100% agree.
Let me ask y'all. Let's get back to this. Let's get back focused on topic.
Hey, that was an interesting conversation though.
So we're going to
It
call
was.
timeouts. What's happening here?
Yeah. Wait, that one time out. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the one time out was hilarious. Wait. Right here. This was my favorite one.
Everybody got to give him a timeout, huh?
That's a legit question. What are
Coach, you started it.
Hey, we all got two left.
Let me ask you a question. I'll start off with you, Dante. We'll start all around. Coach Dante. Miles Sanders has been having a great season. We've seen him running the ball well. He's been playing all games. He's not been injured much. He's been the running back that we've asked him to be. So let me ask, has he done enough to earn a contract extension?
Man, it's a tough question right here. But he is played well enough to earn it. But do I think the Eagles are going to pay him? I don't think the Eagles are going to pay him. I think he's going to walk and go somewhere else. He has been healthy, and he's going to want a long-term extension with the team, and I don't think the Eagles will be willing to do that. But can't take away the season he has had, and he has been healthy, has been running the ball. It was a couple of games. The Eagles kind of went away from him a little bit. The Washington Commanders, they went away from him a little bit. The Colts went away from him a little bit, but then they got back on target. And I say he's having a great season, no doubt about that. He's been healthy, but the Eagles are not going to pay him. So I don't think his play, even though he's playing good football, will earn him a contract with the Eagles. I will say he's going to go somewhere else and get the contract that he wants. Not that what he deserves with this team, but what he wants. Somebody's going to pay Miles Sanders. So I'm going to say he will not get an extension for the Eagles. But he has played good football with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's going to be with someone else next year.
That's hurting my heart right now. King, let me get your thoughts. Miles Sanders, statistically, the best season he's ever had in the NFL. Right. Has he done enough to earn an extension?
He has, but I know Howie is not going to give him that money. Just due to the fact we don't pay running back. I think when's the last time we paid a running back? McCoy, right?
Yep.
And then on top of it, let's be honest, the running backs are going to be free agents next year, in the next offseason. This offseason coming up, there's a lot. There's a lot. They're going to be, They're going to be getting their, and also it just depends on what type of contract he wants. I feel like Zeke, he's broke the running back market to the point where, I don't know if you want to pay somebody 18 a year. That's crazy. I mean, now the Cowboys are in cap hell for, the next like 2 or 3 years. It just depends, man. It depends. But I would love for Miles Sanders to be back, but I don't know.
Breaking my heart. Dante. Dante, You've watched Miles Sanders this season. Again, like I
Yeah,
said, this is the best season he's had in the NFL. Do you think he's done enough to earn a contract extension with the Philadelphia Eagles?
he stayed healthy. He stayed healthy. Now, I mean, would I like to see that multiple years? I mean, you can't really control somebody's health, but 5.1 yards a carry this year, never having under that except for his rookie year, 5.1 yards in his whole career thus far. That's a contract extension waiting to happen to me because you're guaranteed. I mean, you think about it. If you want to bring analytics into it, you think about it. You give the ball to Miles Sanders 2 times, his stat says that he's going to get a first down. 10.2 yards a carry, or 10.2 yards every 2 carries, right? Simple math. Sign the guy. You don't find running backs that are averaging this in their career thus far in their first 4 years. And I understand that he hasn't had a full healthy season outside of his rookie year. He played 16 games or came in, for 16 games at least, touching the ball one time. Then it was 12, and he's 11 games so far. So he's got one more game. If he can stay healthy for one more game, and like I said, you can't control injuries, but go ahead and just give it to him. Miles Sanders, I've always liked Miles Sanders. I really have and you guys know me. I'm wearing an Eagles jersey because I support you guys, and I like Jalen Hurts, but Miles Sanders is one of those running backs that he reminds me a lot of Josh Jacobs. The more you give him the ball, the more confident he is throughout the game. And when his confidence level is at an all-time high, after like 10 carries of him just gashing a defense, he's bound to break one. And you see him in the end zone when he celebrates. He knows he's that guy when he gets the ball. And I mean, honestly, I like that about him. I really do. So, but to me, he's Josh Jacobs 2.0. And I've said this time and time again, locomotives take a little bit to get off, pause, but when they do, when they go and they get to full speed, they don't stop until their destination. And his destination is the end of the game.
Hey, I'm gonna call my second time out. I'm gonna call my second time out right here. Now, Dante, ECG's just mentioned Josh Jacobs. He's a mad bull right now, and he's ready to get paid. If the Raiders don't pay him, somebody is gonna pay him, and I think he will be. If Miles Sanders doesn't come back, I think he'll be a good fit for the Eagles. But again, if Howard Roseman is gonna pay, if Howard Roseman is willing to pay someone like Josh Jacobs, the man beat the Seattle Seahawks with a 300-yard game last weekend. So if Miles Sanders was to go, I think Josh Jacobs will be a good fit in that Eagles offense, and he is a mad bull that's ready to get paid right now.
I'm going to give you one name in this draft that I think will automatically make Miles Sanders a six yards per carry running back. You have to get somebody that's physical, that when Miles Sanders comes into the game, they know what time it is. Get Bijan Robinson to be your number 2. Get Bijan Robinson to be your number 2 and make Miles Sanders a number 1. They'll be the best. I'm saying it right now. They'll be the best two-headed monster in the NFL because there's not going to be anything you're going to be able to do to stop those two. Your offensive line is great. It just is what it is. But that's truly what I believe. Whatever draft capital you got, you go and get Bijan Robinson. And I'm telling you, you guys, all of y'all, I want to see the reaction videos when you draft Bijan Robinson.
Listen, if you're listening to this and you're watching, just do me a solid. Hey, first, hit that like, subscribe if you haven't, and just record that and just post that out, whether it's TikTok or YouTube Shorts. Get that out to Howie Roseman. We need Bijan Robinson. Get that out to my guy. Put it out there.
And make sure you have the timeout in there too.
Yeah, you got to put it under timeout.
And also, you need to get Jalen Carter. It's a requirement.
Oh,
definitely.
He's not going to the Eagles. Unfortunately,
He's gonna be in the top 5. It depends on where y'all pick at. But
he's gonna be a top 2 pick, coach. Let's be honest.
He's gonna be a top 3 pick. The lowest he gonna.
I'll gladly take Ojulari as well.
It's gonna either be Bryce Young, Will Anderson, or Jalen Carter in the first 3 picks. I already know.
I'm hoping that we can do something for Will Anderson. Hey, we got moves. We can move up. We always have that option.
I'd also like to call my second timeout. Hold on, let me just pull it up real quick. For all my hockey fans out there, Vladdy just got a goal for the Lightning. That's it. That was my timeout.
I didn't even get to do the little thing for you.
Oh, wait, sorry. Do you need the graphic? Timeout.
Timeout for the timeout for the timeout.
There we go.
graphic.
Timeout for
There
the
we
timeout.
go. Second timeout.
Right. Technically, I feel like that shouldn't count since I need to wait on the graphics. I feel like I should get my second timeout back. Just saying.
Right. Shay, let me ask you. With 900 yards rushing, fifth in the NFL, 8 touchdowns, tied at 6, and as we said before, 5.1 yards per rush. Do you think Miles Sanders has done enough to earn a contract extension with this team?
So he's earned enough for extension for this team. He's not going to get it though.
Facts.
He's not going to get it. I said this from the jump. He's either going to play himself out of a contract with us, or he's going to not play well enough to earn a contract. And right now, it's the first part. He's playing himself out of a contract. I don't think they're going to give him big money. On top of the fact, as Dante had alluded to, this is a robust running back free agent class and draft class. So it's not like we don't really need to keep him, or if you feel like you need to replace him, there's a lot of options there for you to try to replace that. On top of the fact we have a dominant offensive line and a dominant run scheme. So I think Miles Sanders is having his best year of his career by far. It would suck to see him like not get 1,000 yards, like he get this close and all of a sudden like he's out for the rest of the year. Like, I hope that doesn't happen. Like, I hope he get us 1,000. You know what I'm saying? So I can say like, oh man, Miles is doing his thing, because I really wanted to see him get that 1,000 because we all thought he was capable of doing so. But yeah, he's not going to be here next year. I've said this from the get go. I don't think he'll be here, and I think this for how he's played this year is because he's played too well for us to give him money. We got so many free agents on our team that, like, especially like on the D line in particular, that they're going to address other needs before they think about running back. And so by the time they get there, Miles is probably already signed contract somewhere else, probably.
Listen, I agree. I think this offseason, Howie Roseman, again, we've given him a lot of credit this past offseason. He is going to be at work because we have so many free agents, and you got to fill those voids, or there's a lot of moves that got to be made. But Sora, let me ask you: do you think Miles Sanders has done everything possible to earn a contract extension?
Yes, I absolutely think he has done everything to earn a contract extension. Pretty much exactly what Dante said. He has 177 attempts. That's tied for 7th. 900 yards. That's 5th in the league. He's had 8 touchdowns. Tied for 6th in the league. And then is averaging 5.1 yards per carry. He's projected a little under 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns. So, I mean, he's done everything in his power to earn a contract extension. Will it be with Philly? Who knows? Because so far it has said, going back to when we were talking about Chauncey, that they've already talked about, Chauncey's going to be the top priority to re-sign. Which makes sense because, unfortunately, whether you agree with it or not, I don't agree with it, but running back is the easiest kind of position to replace. You got a lot of guys in free agency. You got a lot of guys in the draft. Unless it's a team-friendly deal, which I'm hoping. Who knows how he can work his magic. It is possible. But you got to look at, Chauncey. You got to look at either Edwards or White or potentially both. You got to look at getting contract extension for Jalen Hurts. And Miles, I just don't think is on the top of their priority in re-signing.
Yeah. And you also have to think about that defensive line as well. Fletcher Cox, there's a decision to be made. Are you going to keep him for another season? He's played well enough as well. But, Coach, let me ask you, has Miles Sanders done everything possible to earn himself a contract extension?
I was the first one being asked that. But
I apologize. I thought I started off with Tim. That we went around the horn on that one. The timeouts must have thrown me off. So then moving forward, then Coach, let me ask you. Let me get your thoughts on Jalen Hurts and his season. What do you think about, the progression and what he's done so far?
I should get my timeout back just for that one on that one. But other than that, I'm gonna answer the question. I think Jalen Hurts has been phenomenal this year. Like the way his pocket presence has really improved. He's been more accurate of putting the ball really on the money of what he's supposed to do. He's been doing a little bit a better job from last year, staying in the pocket, being willing to take a hit and let the ball go. So he has done enough. He has done enough to consider himself as the MVP candidate, even though I don't think he will be named the MVP, but he's right in that discussion to be the MVP. And what makes him so have an elite trait is his legs. You got to watch out every step of the way. They're doing to the fact that he have receiver help and that he can get the ball off and that he's putting the ball right there, right on the money at times. And that back shoulder throw to Quez Watkins, you see Aaron Rodgers them do that all the time. That was pinpoint accuracy right there. Communication and quarterback. That was a hell of a throw right there on the back shoulder throw. And again, he made some spectacular throws Sunday nights, and he's been really doing it all season. So he's improving the pocket. His arm strength is always there. And again, he's in the MVP discussion. He's definitely in the MVP discussion. And I just don't think he would get the MVP, but he's improved dramatically. And like I said, I think the Eagles should lock him up after this season. They should talk about locking him up. I don't know if it's $50 million. You should lock him up for $50 million. I don't know about that part right there, but he definitely should get a contract extension. And I'm going to call my last time out. DJ has been replaced from Clemson. So he is out of the game, and Cade Klutnick is in the game from Clemson. So, yeah.
Once again, Uwe has been breaking my heart.
Uwe Ungalele.
You know how hard that is to say?
Sorry, I had to practice it. I can't disrespect my mans like that.
Right.
I called him I called him Uwe Ungalele when I first saw his name, and they were like,
called him ukulele.
No. Yeah, it's like, Uwe DJ Uwe Ungalele.
God bless his parents, man. Listen,
they're Uwe Ungaleles too.
You a what?
That's a difficult name.
DJ, you a what?
Right?
Me,
I'll chop that up. I'm chopping it up.
He did what in his cup?
Tim, let me ask you, what are your thoughts on the season that Jalen Hurts is having so far?
You're muted.
I was like, what?
Tim was in heavy thought too. When you saw the head go back, my guy was like,
this man was on a soapbox. He was ready to preach. He was like, let me tell you something.
My bad, man. Coach, I thought Coach ran out of timeouts. I thought he was about to do a Chris Webber. My bad. So you know what I'm saying?
He had that challenge flag ready.
I'm a big Jalen Hurts fan. I've been a big fan of his. Been screaming, pounding the table for my man. So it's just good to see him actually get the respect and people actually talking about him. I agree with Coach, though. He's not going to get MVP. I don't want the MVP. I want a Super Bowl. That's what I want. I don't care about no MVP, none of the individual stats. And I know he's the same way, man. Just the way he has came, improved and just, came into this. And he's a great leader. He's a good guy. He's somebody you can root for. You know what I'm saying? And, one thing I want to say is shout out to Jordan Brand to keep on sending my man cleats. Y'all going to have to give him a contract here and there. Because, Concord 11s, he was on the field. He was killing them. All white 11s, he was killing them. And I know y'all just seen a little, what was it, the cost for my cleats or cleats for my cars, whatever it is?
Yeah.
The purple ones?
Fire. That's all I can say, yo. Yeah. And Columbia with the gold jacket. You know what I'm saying? He's just remarkable, man. He's remarkable. And I appreciate Dante for rocking that jersey, too. Because he's a Jacks fan.
I've been a big Jalen Hurts fan, man.
Dante, let me ask you. Let me get your thoughts on, the season that Jalen Hurts has had so far.
So I just want to preface this by saying, even before you guys knew me, Don will attest to this. I've been telling people, give Jalen Hurts a chance. Because I said on draft day, I didn't understand why you drafted him, but I said eventually he's going to take this spot. He always does, wherever he's at. And I know what they said about Alabama, but he's a great teammate. But it wasn't because he wasn't playing bad. It's just because Tua was better. You just had to give him his flowers. Was the most efficient and best quarterback in college football in the history of the game. Now, I'm gonna read off some stats for you guys. Tell me who this is. Who you think this is? In college, 3,851 yards, 11 yards of average on the catch on catches, 32 touchdowns, 8 interceptions passing. Quarterback rating at 191.2. 69.7 completion percentage. Who do you think that was?
That's Jalen.
Jalen Hurts. He was the runner-up in the Heisman. I think he should have won. The only reason he didn't win the Heisman that year,
Joe
That's
Burrow.
tough. Joe
That was his
Burrow.
first season at Alabama, right? His first starting season.
Oklahoma.
that was Oklahoma. The only reason he didn't win is because they lost games and Joe Burrow had the best team ever assembled in college football history.
Mhm.
Any other year, Jalen Hurts would have won it. Just like Andrew Luck was in the Heisman race twice, never won it because there was 2 players that were just a little bit better than him. Jalen Hurts has always had it. I don't know why people didn't say he couldn't make every single throw. Watch Lincoln Riley's offense at Oklahoma. He had CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb was a household name even before he got there. So putting Jalen Hurts there, he made him look even better. If Jalen Hurts was on USC right now, they would have won a game against Utah. Straight up. Because everybody's like, oh, Caleb Williams is the best quarterback that Lincoln Riley's had. I know I'm getting into the college jargon, but I love Jalen Hurts, man. I just said it took one good coach to be brought in for him to show his real talent. And you see how good of a teammate he's been to everybody. He does that every single time. There's no player. If you took Carson and put him in the same situation that he had at Alabama, he would have crumbled under the pressure, would have thrown a hissy fit. Everybody knows he's a bad teammate. Jalen Hurts got benched in a national championship game. Came back the next year when Tua got hurt, had a great season filling in, and then he transferred out. That's how you do it. That's a good teammate. That's being there for your guys, and he just wanted his chance at the end, which nobody blamed him for transferring out to Oklahoma.
Yeah, for Jalen Hurts, especially with that game, like we've all seen that chip form on his shoulder when he got.
Imagine if you got benched in your championship game after being quarterback for the whole year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm fighting.
You
I'm
were
fighting.
third in the crazy part about it, and what ECG brought up, and how he's such a good teammate, and you saw every touchdown to a throw, he went over there and greeted him, and he was happy, jumping up and down. The man was 32-2.
Who was the first teammate that walked up to Tua at the end of the game when they won?
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts ran out, picked him up, hugged him, had the biggest smile on his face. That translated directly over.
Yeah.
Directly translated over to the NFL. I'm glad that he's doing well. I'm not surprised by the season he's having, Vic. I just know that it was going to be one of these times. It didn't even matter that A.J. Brown was there. I still think that he would have been in the MVP conversation because of the impact he was going to make for the Eagles this year. I say once Nick Sirianni opened up that playbook and started game planning around Jalen and saying, Jalen, do what you need to do, instead of Jalen's going to trust the play calling first, then you're going to have success. He's an improviser. You know, like the little skill that you can pick on Madden that says improviser? That's Jalen Hurts. That's what he does.
man was 32-2 when he got benched. 32-2. He won 32 games, and he was still winning.
When he got benched too.
Yep.
But the wild thing about that game was, and Devontae Smith even said, that season, that team, everybody knew that the twos were better than the ones.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessary that you had to change the quarterback. If you left Jalen in the game and just switched out the receivers and the running backs, it would have still been the same outcome. Alabama would have won the game. But they had to make a change to quarterback because they needed to send a message. That was what the issue was. They needed to send a message. And it sucks that, it was Jalen Hurts that they used to send that message. But again, we all seen that chip form on my guy's shoulder. And he went on to Oklahoma. He came into the Eagles. I'll be honest, when he first came to the Eagles, I wasn't really thrilled. I was just like, all right, decent.
Nobody was.
Yeah, and I was like, listen, and I thought of that. I was like, listen, you got to take into account, man, this kid was benched on a national championship game. That is the biggest game of your career where you needed the most, and you weren't able to live up to that.
They were already throwing around the title of like he was going to be the greatest backup.
Yep. But then when he had
wow.
I mean, at that time, you got to remember it was a quarterback factor. You know
yeah,
what I mean? That came.
It's like pizza. You get a little different flavors.
Yeah.
You got some pepperoni here. You got some sauce.
Yeah.
Well, pause on that one. But yeah, like when Jalen came through,
Wait a
like
minute.
those first 4 games that he played, in relief of Wentz, that changed a lot of people's opinion right then and there, especially that first game. But as the season came on, we gave him that time to be that number 1 starter. Yeah, like I said, last year he had his ups and downs. We want to see progression. We see a lot of that this year. But Shay, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, let me get your thoughts on Jalen Hurts and the spectacular season he's been having so far.
Hey, I just before I go into, I want to do like a side thing, a story I heard about Jalen's intangibles. So like I think he talked about it on his appearance on Jason Kelsey and Travis Kelsey's podcast, where he talked about when he first got to Oklahoma. He thought, well, what's the way? How can I endear myself to my teammates? Well, I know. I'm gonna go put 600 pounds on the squat rack. I'm gonna squat in front of the whole team. And I'm gonna show you how strong I am. That'll get it going. And that shit
I mean,
worked.
that do be a power move.
That was a legitimate literal. Wow, he fumbled the ball. Literal fumble, a literal power move. But yeah, as far as this year, man, Jalen Hurts, the way he's playing this year, it's like as best of a best case scenario you can get. Like I feel like a lot of us thought that the guys who were optimistic about Jalen Hurts, right? We thought that okay, he's going to get better at some point, right? He just works too hard not to get better to a certain extent. What we didn't realize was how dramatic that jump was going to be. Like the way he's playing this year, I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't think he was going to play like this. Like this is like the way he's playing. It's incredible. It's some of the best quarterback play that us as Eagles fans have ever seen. Period. And this is just a small sample size too. There's more to come potentially. He can still get better. I know he's going to try to get better. And the way he worked on his craft, the way he came back with a whole new level of confidence in the offensive schemes, on top of the fact that you add weapons on this offense, you get his homeboy, he's one of the best young wide receivers in the game. You have another year at Devontae Smith, another year at Dallas Goedert and Quez Watkins. You signed Zach Pascal for depth. You got the best O-line in football and a good stable of running backs. Like it was set up for him not to fail, but it's been more than that. He's like elevated to a whole new level. Like to a point now where I feel he's playing so well, where I feel like every game we come into it, no matter who we're playing, we always have a chance because of Jalen Hurts. Largely because of Jalen Hurts, man. Like even last week, having that game he had, like if you look at the passing stats, like he only had like 150 yards, right? So it's not like crazy impressive from the passing standpoint, but he did make smart decisions. But the fact you had 150 passing and 150 rushing, you almost had it in one half, that's insane. You know what I'm saying? Only what the first player that had that stat line in 50 years? This is what we're talking about now. This is a dude who is like at this point is playing like a legitimate Pro Bowl, All Pro, MVP. Like there's not really much of a ceiling right now. It could get better. That's the crazy thing about it. It could get even better. So it's like we just had to see it. But this kid is driven like few we've probably had in this roster, man, and I love it. This is the greatest case scenario. That is the greatest case.
I got a timeout though. And I forgot to mention this. Sorry, I had to put my first one out. There's about 3 games that if we don't have Jalen, we don't win.
Yep.
So
I'd like to throw my challenge flag.
Oh, go ahead.
No, more than 3, but keep going. I want to hear what 3, but I'd argue there's more than 3 games.
So I would say the Colts, we don't win that game.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
Lions game,
because the Colts gave you the touchdown. The Colts really gave up the touchdown on purpose to get the ball back, but that's true. That's a fact. That's one.
The Cardinals game.
I like that take. Second coming.
yeah, Cardinals, the Lions game. Without like, we don't win that game.
The Jacksonville game. In a
I
way.
don't remember that. I just remember the rain.
Yeah, but we scored 29 unanswered points. After being down 14-0.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say at least 3 or 4. Papa, what would you think? What was you about the name?
Colts, I agree with.
I just said that.
I would say just because of their weakness and with the historic game that he had, I'd say Green Bay. He was a big reason why, especially with how your defense was playing. You said Cardinals.
Mm-hmm. You said the Lions game.
Lions, agreed.
Yep.
Vikings, I think he did very well against that secondary.
Oh, he
let's
torched
let's just say all of them because the Washington.
I mean, and I was gonna say this for mine. 10 out of 11 games we scored 20 plus points. The only one we didn't was the Colts game, And there are only 3 teams left in the NFL that have scored at least 17 points in every game. Us, the Bills, and the Chiefs. So I think you could argue if we didn't have Jalen Hurts, we would not be having a season like this right now.
I think y'all could have got away with that Vikings game because Kirk Cousins was dog shit in that game. He was absolutely terrible. Yeah. He played bad in that game. He threw 3 interceptions all right there in the red zone. So I think y'all, without Hurts, y'all could have got away with that game. It depends on the quarterback that you had, that you have, and did turn the ball on. Y'all could have got away with that one. It was just an off night for Minnesota. That was way off of them.
Yeah, but Jalen still showed out.
Yeah, he
showed
did.
out.
Well, also with that game too, when you're talking about the Vikings, you got to give credit to Slay because he dominated.
Yeah,
Slay was defense was dominant.
Yeah. Okay.
Sora.
Yeah.
Sora, let me get your thoughts on the season so far for Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts was one of my favorite players. Wasn't mad that we drafted him per se. Wasn't mad at the player. It just didn't make sense at the time. Now, absolutely, it does make sense. But, I mean, I've got to sign... He signed one of my jerseys of his. That's going in a shadow box. So, I've absolutely been a Jalen Hurts fan since he was in college, back in his first year of Alabama. He was just a very dynamic player. Always a good leader, always a good fighter. I mean, now he's kind of... I don't want to say coming out of his shell, because he's been out of his shell, but he's usually in... Sirianni and his teammates can agree with this, but he usually is the quiet type. But when he speaks, you listen.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you've seen him. You saw him against the Jags game. They're down 14-0 early. He's camera pans over. He's not panicked, and then again we go score and score 29 unanswered points. So I mean, he's absolutely a leader. I don't think he'll win MVP. I mean, it just depends on the later of the season, but I mean, he's thrown 3 interceptions this entire year.
Yeah.
Only one of them really being one off of the hands of Brown and the other off of the hands of Kenneth Gainwell, and then the other one, that was all on him. So I mean,
Micah Parsons might win.
Who?
Wait, what was that?
Micah Parsons might win MVP if he keeps it up.
Listen,
him or Justin Jefferson. Right now,
Justin Jefferson for MVP,
bro. There's
been a couple
he's
of
on
games
pace for 2,100 yards.
Blanketed. He's been handled for a couple of games,
but he's on pace for 2,100 yards though.
Man, but wide receivers never won an MVP.
I think
it's a down year for quarterbacks.
Yards. I thought it was going to be Tyreek Hill.
If there was any year for a wide receiver to win the MVP, it was last year.
Yeah,
that was it. Ain't gonna happen. Listen, Justin Jefferson.
And I gotta agree with Vic because you got to look at all the games.
There were White strike season.
Yeah, but that leads me to my next question. I'll start off with you, Tim, because I know what Coach is gonna say. Coach already gave me his answer. Would you consider Jalen Hurts a front runner for the MVP race?
Most definitely. I think we're all mimicking the same thing. We're saying he's probably not going to get it. This due to the fact that everybody looks at the arm talent and how you win games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jalen just wins games, period. But Pat Mahomes, he's doing. I'm throwing the left hand. I'm making it something out of nothing. So it's probably going to go. It's probably, it's gonna go to Pat. I mean, they got tons of weapons over there too.
I don't know for Pat. I don't know. He's had a good season. I'm not going to discredit it, but I think that name carries him a lot further this year than it should have. But Dante, let me get your thoughts. Is Jalen Hurts a front runner for the MVP?
Like I said, I think this is a down year for quarterbacks in general. It's been like that the last 3 seasons. I think Aaron Rodgers just won because he was the best offensive player, to be completely honest. Like, it wasn't. There's been years where we're like, when Lamar won, it was like, Lamar's unanimous. That dude was outrageous the year that he won MVP. When Tom Brady's of the world won, when Adrian Peterson won that year, these were like dominant years for these players. I don't think there's been a marquee I mean, I guess you could say Derrick Henry 2 years ago when it was him and Aaron Rodgers who was going to win, the MVP trophy. But outside of that, we haven't had like a marquee player that was like, oh yeah, that dude is definitely the MVP. We're not looking at that right now. That's why I go to the defensive side of the ball. And when I take a step back and look at it, and I know you guys are Eagles fans, but Michael Parsons has been absolutely dominant. Like, he's ridiculous this year. And he needs to be mentioned in that conversation. You remember how that dominant year that J.J. Watt had? He's on pace to have an even more like outrageous year than J.J. Watt had at his position. So I don't think people are necessarily paying attention to that. But, right now, do I put him there front runner? I don't think it's an outrageous thing to say that he could be the front runner, but I can't put my eggs in that basket right now. It's too tight and in too many different areas, and it's not a like a good tight race. It's one of those like, well, put some names in a hat and then pull one out. That's MVP this season.
All right, so that automatically goes to say Dante is like Parsons, and then who would you go?
You said
Mahomes
Jefferson?
second. Jefferson. He said Jefferson.
Yeah.
Parsons, Jefferson, and then who?
So here's the ones that I put in: Parsons, Jefferson, Patrick Mahomes, and Jalen. Those are like my four, like at the top.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So he's gonna go that way.
It's just weird. It's like I don't.
It is.
You can make a reason for any one of them. We just had to see how the season ends out. I wish the MVP race statistics happen in like the playoffs too, so you can really see how dominant some of these players are against really good teams. Yeah. But I mean, we get to do that now in college because it's championship week. So, but outside of that, I wish that could happen at least like in the wild card or like the first 2 rounds or something, and then it stops. But like, yeah, well, I mean, you'd like to see the best players against the best teams at that point in time to really determine who wins the trophy. Has there ever been an MVP guy that a team didn't make the playoffs? That's a good trivia question.
I don't know.
Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders is good. Yeah, that's it. Maybe.
What was this like?
you were on a
95,
game
98?
show?
Was it 98?
Barry Sanders won the MVP?
Yeah,
Barry Sanders had to win the MVP.
He
You
won
can't
the
tell me
MVP.
he did not win the MVP.
I'll look it up.
He would be the first person I would think of. This thing he didn't make the playoffs, won an MVP. He's the only player
Megatron.
that fits that.
I'm gonna look it
What
up.
about
Megatron
Megatron?
might be too. Yeah, a Detroit player in general.
Megatron.
All right, so here they
No
are.
wide receiver has ever won
Matthew
MVP.
Stafford. I don't know.
Yeah, Barry Sanders was 1997 MVP.
Okay.
Which might
No, he was a
that might have been the
co-MVP.
same year he ran for 2000.
Who else was on that?
He was a co-MVP with Brett Favre.
Who?
Wow.
Barry Sanders.
Really?
Yo,
Yeah.
all right. You know why I remember that? Remember at that time when you got MVP, you were going to be on the cover of EA Sports. I don't know if you guys remember that. Y'all remember that? Remember Cyber Barry and then I think it was like NFL Live '97 was Brett Favre.
Then they had the Madden curse after that.
No Madden curse.
Yeah.
Chunky noodle soup.
Yep, because I think Donovan might have been the first one to get the injury.
Yeah.
Mhm. Who broke it?
Lamar Jackson, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it was
I might be wrong, but I think it might have been Lamar.
Yeah.
I
I
think
thought
it
it
was
was Mahomes.
I want to
no.
say
I don't think it was that far out.
I want to say most of these players that has won MVP made it to the playoffs. Just in my memory, outside of Barry Sanders, maybe Sean Alexander in 2005, but I believe they made the playoffs that year.
No, they went to the Super Bowl.
In 2005, it was against the Steelers, right?
Yeah. Against the Steelers,
That was dope this year.
Yeah, because it's been Aaron Rodgers, Lamar, Patrick, Tom, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton. Oh my gosh, that was a niche time.
Matt Ryan got it.
Yeah, 2016. That was the Aaron Rodgers kind of year.
Yeah, that was the year that he was in the Super Bowl. That was the Super Bowl against the Falcons. That was the Super Bowl against the Patriots.
Super Bowl year.
Oh, okay.
From a regular season standpoint, they were a historically great offense that year.
Yep.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
because that's when they had Julio Jones. That's when they had
Gonzalez.
They had the
Devontae
running back
Freeman,
duel. Yeah, that's
Sanu.
it. Yep.
And
That's
White. They had White, right?
Yeah,
Roddy White.
Roddy
What was
White.
it, Mike-
And then
Mike,
Tony Gonzalez. Tony
They
Gonzalez.
had
Mike
Harry,
Turner, right?
was it Harry Douglas?
I don't think Harry Douglas was on that team.
Douglas wasn't there yet, but I think they had Turner back then because they got him from San Diego. That
Who
was
was
the
the
Danny
tight end
Tomlinson
though?
backup.
This is why I love.
Tony Gonzalez.
It was.
Vic
That's what I'm
T.
saying. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
It wasn't
Vic T was
It
a
was
tight
tight
end.
end.
it was
That
Austin Hooper.
They remember that
Atlanta
year.
team
That was the year they
set
made
up for a
the rule
Super
where
Bowl, man.
you couldn't double when you get off the line. Remember? He was the one that
Yo,
made
All
that.
right, so here was their starting roster. It was
Beast, man.
Matt Ryan and Matt Schaub as at quarterback, Tevin Coleman, Devontae Freeman,
Yep.
Taylor
yeah.
Gabriel was at wide receiver. I remember that name. Julio Jones, Muhammad Sanu,
Yep.
Eric
Young,
Weems,
young.
Austin Hooper was the tight
Yeah,
end.
that's saying it was Austin Hooper was the
Whoa.
tight end.
Vic,
Oh,
remember
so it
Vic
wasn't
Beasley, Devondre Campbell, Deion Jones. Dang, that was a hell of a linebacking core.
Oh, they had young
Vic
Devondre
Beasley was a
Campbell.
big name. coming out
Jonathan
of-
Babineau, Dwight Freeney, Grady
Deion
Jarrett,
Keanu Neal,
uh,
Willie Collins. Wow.
yeah,
They had a
Tyson
squad.
Jackson.
They had
Robert
Dwight
Alford.
Freeney on
I
that
know
team, yo.
Robert Alford was on that team, right?
They had Dwight Freeney.
What
Yeah, they
position
had
did
a
he play,
squad.
Coach?
Cornerback. Robert Alford.
Atlanta.
Dwight Freeney came in half,
number
like
23.
Yeah, Robert Alford. Yep.
Yep.
before the trade deadline.
They had
They would only use him as a rush specialist.
That's right. That's right.
Jashawn Goldson when he was good.
Wasn't Abraham still there at the time?
No.
No.
Oh,
Philip Wheeler, Leroy Reynolds. Yeah, bro. This team was stacked.
Yeah, they were stacked.
Wow, I forgot Tevin Coleman played for the damn Falcons.
He started there, and then he ended
Yeah.
up going to Niners and now the
That
Jets.
Freeman Coleman tandem was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Tevin Coleman was a beast with Atlanta.
Yeah. man.
Shay, did we get your thoughts on MVP for Jalen Hurts? I think we trailed off and timed out on you.
That's all good. Man, I want to say he's the I want to say he's the sole front runner. Like I think right now it's him and Mahomes, but I have to be unbiased and give Mahomes a nod because he's playing even better, and he lost the Mustang, and you know what I'm saying, everything, he's playing as well, if not better than he was before. So I think I might give it to Mahomes, but Jalen is right. If it's not Mahomes, it's Jalen. It's like neck and neck right now. It's close. It's very close.
Whoever thought Tyreek Hill would still win Pat Mahomes an MVP? Good Lord. Ain't even there and he's still winning my guy MVP.
Let's talk about Tyreek, bro. He's about to set records, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey, yeah, they doing their work in Miami. Jalen Waddle too. He's doing some work over there too. A lot of people don't like to bring his name up as much. But Sora, let me get your thoughts. Would you consider Hurts a front runner for the MVP?
Yeah, I'd consider Hurts front runner for MVP. I think it's going to be either between Mahomes or Hurts. MVP is mainly just a quarterback award. Yes, granted, you've had some like Adrian Peterson win it, but I mean, I can see the argument for Micah Parsons. I don't see the argument for Justin Jefferson, though, because there were weeks where he went without a touchdown and then weeks where he just went missing.
It don't matter at the end of the season. That's what they
I mean,
care
it
about.
don't matter at the end of the season, but if you're looking at it as a whole, that's just me personally. I'm not taking anything away from him. He's still an excellent player.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's...
When Aaron Rodgers won in 2020, Derrick Henry should have won by that logic. That's what I'm saying.
And
AP don't
I
care.
also-
Henry should have won.
I also agree with Vic. Cooper Kupp should have been MVP last year.
I think that's the issue.
Facts.
If there was ever a time for a wide receiver to win MVP, it was Cooper Kupp last year.
Aaron Rodgers didn't have like a dominant. That is a very good one. I take my statement back because that was a dominant year by a wide receiver. And we know people are going to say, "Oh, he got like 200 targets." I don't care. You got to catch the ball.
Right.
You know
What
what I'm
was
saying?
crazy was it was an unprecedented and a historical season for a wide receiver. No wide receiver did what Cooper Kupp has done. Why would you not give him the award? Why? Because fashion trend says to give it to a quarterback. And at that, like we said, Aaron Rodgers didn't even play that good last year.
And what
He
running
did.
back got over 2,000 yards in a long time ever since Chris Johnson did it?
Like people forget, like Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers
Rodgers-
had to have that Tom Brady moment where he had to tell the media, like, calm down, it's week 6. I know we're like 3 games behind, but like just calm down. Like people tend to forget that was his MVP season.
They should just. I forgot who said it, but this is definitely a quarterback award because the last 2 years it shouldn't have been Aaron Rodgers. They literally are like, "Here you go, Aaron. Because you are the chosen quarterback of this year. Here's the
You're
MVP
the chosen
award.
one.
Even though we had 2 dominant seasons by 2 other players.
You were the chosen one.
Coach, let me ask you, because I know you don't think Jalen Hurts will win the MVP or front runner, but let me ask you, what are your MVP? What's your top 3?
My top 3 is Pat Mahomes. I want to go with a dark horse. I want to go to Tyreek Hill,
The dark horse.
Justin Jefferson.
I wasn't making that face at you, Coach. I'm making that face to that comment.
Yeah,
That
Dante and I are
comment.
looking at
Bro.
Only reason I say Patrick Mahomes.
Explain yourself.
Go see Randy Moss's first Thanksgiving game and then tell him if he was the greatest ever.
He's a Vikings fan. I mean, but he did say he's been watching football for 3 years. But we all know who the greatest wide receiver ever touched the rock. That's Jerry Rice.
Yeah, treat yourself to a YouTube dive. Hit up Randy Moss. You'll thank us later.
You'll change your profile picture to him after you watch highlights.
Jerry Rice. Go watch Jerry Rice.
The GOAT. Yeah, man.
Go watch Terrell Owens too.
Yeah.
T.O. was a beast, bro. Damn, he pissed me off when he did them sit-ups in that damn driveway.
But did he piss you off when he played in the Super Bowl with a broken leg, though?
No, Don.
I was forgiven.
After all these years, I kind of blame McNabb. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I've been blaming McNabb, bro.
That was
I didn't blame him back then. I was David
man, that
Nabb's
pissed me
thing.
off.
Shit.
Man cares more about his chunky Campbell soup.
All that passive aggressiveness, man.
As the years have gone on, I've come to find out the reason why McNabb had a horrible game and why he threw up for that game. And it was solely because McNabb was partying the night before. McNabb is well known to be an alcoholic. He got into his stuff. He was drinking a lot, drank a little too much, and that's the reason why him and T.O. started that beef, because he was thrown up in it because he didn't take that Super Bowl as serious as he should have. If he would have, the Eagles would have definitely won that Super Bowl. We had the Patriots on the ropes. They only won by 3 points. It was the Vinatieri field goal that won them the game, and that was only because the Eagles failed to score on that last drive beforehand.
That ball was going to go to L.J. Smith, wasn't it?
Man. I don't want to open up old wounds, but I'm going to just shout out a receiver that a lot of people don't talk about. Tim Brown, receiver for the Raiders. He was a great also.
Yeah.
That dude never played with gloves.
Yeah.
Never.
I love
He played with elbow pads before he played with gloves. He was like, gotta protect these.
Also got
I gotta protect those.
Like, what was he, like 35 and still probably the fastest receiver in the NFL at the time? Like he was Tyreek Hill before Tyreek Hill.
Yo, look up highlights of Tim Brown and how he used to play at the line of scrimmage. He used to smack you in the helmet, bro, and never got flagged for it.
bro. No, I shook his hand. I seen him at the airport one time. I shook his hand, bro. His hands, and I got nice sized hands.
Yeah.
My man got mittens. I was like, God, I felt like a kid. I was like, oh, that's disrespectful. That's disrespectful.
And I want to give a shout out to 2 underrated receivers at this point in time too. Unfortunately, this dude career got cut short. One more year, he would have won the Super Bowl with that Green Bay team. Sterling Sharp and Steve Largent. Sterling Sharp and Steve Largent, they were really, really good wide receivers, bro. They were really, really actual good wide receivers.
Yo, you know who was a dog and everybody hates his commentary? Chris Collinsworth was a dog, bro. With the Bengals, go look up highlights.
As soon as you said hate his commentary, I was like,
go look up his highlights. I'm sure you won't. He was Randy Moss. He was the white Randy Moss. Like
what's
no
crazy
cap.
about him though? He was a quarterback in college. That was crazy about it.
But what I will say
was
this,
nice.
like you said, I do hate his commentary, but I will give him credit. Yo, if you seen Chris Collinsworth when he played, he would take hits that no one in NFL.
That's what ended his career. He couldn't do it anymore.
Yo, my guy would get laid out and just get up for the next play.
So when he talk about like cats not catching over in the middle and stuff, bro, like Chris used to be like, "Give it, bow," to get right back up. Like, I got a concussion, coach, but I'm good. Hit me on the slant route again.
Yeah,
his catch percentage was like insane too when he was with the Bengals. He was like one of the most reliable guys ever.
I think he rubbed people the wrong way because of like the comments he makes, but some of those comments he makes, he's justified because he played the game and he's been in those situations.
He just hates the Eagles, bro. That's why everybody hates him.
He does. He does. I really think he does.
Him and Andre Reed got beef too. Did y'all know that?
Oh,
Yeah, him and Andre
Allentown's
Reed.
finest, Andre Reed will take him down.
He was a dog.
Andre
You know-
Reed was a beast, but if
You know
Chris
who else was a
Collinsworth would have
dog?
played,
I
we would have
mean,
been talking about Andre
You know
Reed.
Hey,
who else was a
Warren,
dog that nobody talks
so
about?
if you had an all time list with like great wide receivers, you would have to put what? You have to put Jerry Rice, right? Randy Moss. You would have
Yeah.
to put Tim Brown up there, right? But like people leave out like like what coaches said. You left out a couple with like Chris Collinsworth and stuff like that. Like, what is another wide receiver that you're like, man, he would have been dope if he was on a different team?
Oh,
Jimmy Smith.
Okay,
I'm taking my Jaguars bias out of it. Jimmy Smith, bro.
Steve Smith.
Okay.
I'll give you the other one,
Smith.
Keenan McCardell.
He's
Keenan
Smith.
McCardell as well. He was a great receiver.
He was a
in his
beast at the Bucks too.
I'm about to
Yeah.
say Torrey Holt. Torrey Holt was
I got
nice
one
too.
for you. Brandon
Torrey
Marshall.
Holt was nice.
Brandon Marshall, yeah. Brandon
Brandon Marshall.
Marshall.
Oh, Brent. Yo, you know what's crazy about Brandon Marshall? You know he never made a playoff.
Never
appearance?
played in the postseason.
Never.
That's nuts.
I'll say this
never.
one. People might get mad at me. Larry Johnson. Not Larry Johnson. Excuse me. I'm about to say Larry Johnson.
Billy White.
Oh my God.
I thought you were gonna say Grandma Mom Larry Johnson. Who?
Yeah, no. That's what stuck in my head when I had Larry.
Okay.
Oh
And
my God.
Megatron.
Larry
I'll say
Fitzgerald.
Megatron.
If
I was
Larry
about to say
Fitzgerald was
Fitzgerald.
on
What other
another
Larrys
team,
are
bro.
there?
Yeah,
Oh,
another
yeah.
team.
Larry the Cable Guy?
When they have
Hey,
blue
Vic,
chip
you know who's
quarterbacks.
cold too? Torrey Holt, man. Nobody talks about Torrey Holt.
Torrey
Torrey
Holt.
Holt.
Yeah. Oh, I'll give you one. This is going back, and I think all of us are old enough to understand this one. Curtis Conway, and not only Curtis Conway, I'm gonna hit you with another one who was like one of the best slot guys ever. Never wore gloves or sleeves either. Wayne Corbett from the Jets, bro. If he
Wayne
would have
Corbett
played
was
somewhere
a
else, bro, he was a fucking monster, dog.
He was a mom.
Hey, y'all remember Keenan McCardell?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Keenan McCardell was
That
nice.
was nice.
He was
Jimmy
nice.
Smith.
JJ Stokes.
I used
Jay-
to like my
Brandon
guy Eric
Stokely
Metcalf.
did everything.
Eric Metcalf was dope. Rocket Ishmael. Remember him?
Rod
Like he
Smith.
had a little. Yeah,
Rod
and his
Smith was
brother
nice,
the missile.
too.
Rod
Big ass
Smith, yep.
brother.
Rod Smith was nice. But he
What
also- he
was
had a-
Christian
he had a
McCaffrey's
great-
dad?
Oh, that's Ed. Big
Ed
Ed.
McCaffrey,
Another
yeah.
Allentown.
They had
Allentonian.
weapons on that
Hey,
team. That
remember,
97 Broncos team was crazy.
Lavernius Coles.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, Laverne Cold.
Nice.
There's so many wide receivers out there, man, that get
Ooh,
forgotten.
you know who's underrated one who doesn't get enough credit, but everybody talks about how nice he was with route running. Stevie Johnson.
Stevie Johnson from the Bills. Oh, yo, you brought me back,
Best cornerback up. Your favorite cornerback up.
Mhm.
bro. That what's his name? Darrell Revis had said that like Stevie Johnson. He was like, I used to hate playing Stevie Johnson because there was nothing I could have did on the route.
I think
He was like-
it was Keenan Allen that said that Stevie Johnson like mentor. I think it may have been Keenan Allen that said he mentored him, which makes sense because you see how Keenan Allen be routing.
He's a
people
coach. He's a coach for the Chargers. Yes.
Yeah.
He was a coach for the
Now-
Chargers.
One wide receiver that was a dog, and concussions took him out. Miles Austin with the Cowboys.
Yeah,
He was eating for a while.
for a couple of years. Victor Cruz,
Victor Cruz
Man,
was
don't
killing
worry.
it too.
Yeah.
a couple of years.
Yeah, Victor Cruz
That
was
was
killing it.
crazy.
Hell, I still remember when Victor Cruz first played, like the compliment Bill Belichick gave him. I think it was a training camp game, and he was like, "Yo, who's number 80?" As soon as you hear Bill Belichick asking, "Who's that?" it's a wrap.
Yeah.
And he went over, talked to the coach, like, "Yo, you got a good player, number 80. I really hope you sign him and you start him, because if not, we'll be looking for him."
Yo, you know who was a dog and nobody talks about because nobody watches FCS. Probably me. I'm the only one up here that probably watches more FCS football than anybody. But as Danny Woodhead was like one of the best running backs ever in FCS. Like if he would have been on y'all's Eagles team right now, it would be like insane because he would fit right in Nick Sirianni's scheme. Put him on a shovel pass or something, bro.
Hey, and he was good at catching the ball on the back out of the backfield.
Always reliable. And he would take big hits too. That was his other thing. He was a concussion master
Yo,
too.
And he was crazy on that wheel route. He used to. Yeah,
Nobody could do anything.
He
He's
used
a
to
Oh.
be
beast.
on that wheel
You know
route,
what?
bro.
One wide receiver that I think that could have played on any team and would have just dominated? Hines Ward.
Hell yeah.
Hines Ward, just like
Hines
his
Ward was
grit,
amazing.
determination, and the fact that my guy didn't care. He get dirty. He's blocking for you. He's
Where is
making
he
great
now?
plays, and he's laying out.
He's a coach for the XFL.
Hey, did
I'm
y'all
about to
play?
say, he's
did y'all play
coaching
Madden
somewhere. I couldn't
NCAA
remember
back
where.
in the day.
Who was it?
Did y'all? I was like, y'all play Madden and NCAA football back in the day on the PlayStation, Xbox. So
Absolutely.
like, you know how like Vic on Madden was unstoppable. But you know who was unstoppable in NCAA football 2003 or 4? Fucking Darren Sproles on Kansas State was
Yep.
like, you could not do anything. He could run one side to the next side to the other side back in one play. It'd just be like some cheat code shit. That's how I even knew who he was, because I was like, who is
That was when I first discovered Darren Sproles, because I was still a bit like too young to have brain capacity.
But then you go back and watch his college highlights, it's like,
He was a beast.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Him and Santana Holmes, man.
Who's the kid?
5'6" giant, basically.
Who's the guy that retired that played for the Bears for a little bit? He went to North Carolina A&T.
Not Forte. Oh, Tariq Cohen.
Tariq Cohen. Have you seen his highlights at A&T?
Hey man,
oh my god!
Tariq Cohen's story recently, his recent life, he's had a hard life recently, man. He's lost a lot of people close to him and stuff, man.
Really, Tariq Cohen? I mean,
yeah,
that's why he's working out.
On top of the fact that he got hurt working out too.
Yeah,
so,
towards Achilles.
Yeah, man. I hope he is able to get back on his feet, man, because that was a dude.
I told Vic this story when I was in high school. We had an exhibition game against Tavon Austin before our season started. That was like, when we played him, I was like, yeah, he's wherever he goes to college, he's gonna be a beast. He went to West Virginia and was a beast. I'd never seen somebody like could play every single position on the field, kick return, did whatever he wanted. When he had the ball on passing, they gave it to him as a tailback. I was like, I talked to him after the game. I said, bro, what school you going to? He's like, I got a couple offers. I'll never forget that conversation. Then he went to West Virginia with him and Geno Smith, bro. They were different.
But his quarterback was Pat White at the moment, wasn't it?
Geno.
No, it was Geno.
Noah Devine or Stedman Bailey, or neither of them.
Wait, what was that?
You talking about Noel Devine?
Nah, Noel Devine was with Pat White. Yeah,
he was. Yeah. I was thinking of that. I was thinking.
It was Devine. I forgot the other running back that they had. They played for the Texans.
They had Stedman Bailey too.
He was there during Tavon Austin's.
That's it. Tavon Austin, Noel Devine, and Pat White.
Okay,
yeah.
We literally did not talk about probably one of the best wide receivers, deep threat, ball, tracking the ball, and I had to go Deshaun Jackson.
Oh, we already know that though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We know.
Now you know who I used to like in college. I used to like what's his name? David Boston.
Oh my god, are you
Ohio
serious?
State. Yo, David Boston was that dude,
bro.
Yeah, he was like on steroids though.
when he was in San Diego,
he was stacked, bro.
In college, he was good, but in
Remember on Madden, his arms are huge on Madden, bro.
You want to talk about Dante? Dante can agree with this.
You want to talk about David Boston, right? I see David Boston in the mall, and it's when the Chargers were there, and I think it was him. What was the rest in peace? He died on
Vincent Jackson.
Vincent Jackson. So them two were the main two, right? They were the. Mm-hmm. I seen him in the mall, bro. Mind you, I live in Arizona, so I would watch Arizona, the Cardinals and stuff like that. He played for the Cardinals. He was skinny. I seen him bro. And he turned around. I couldn't even see his face. I seen his chaps. I was like, damn. they were like, yo, that's David Boston. I was like, bro, is he a tight end?
Nah, and he was quick, bro. Like he was quick. He did it. Yo, he was a monster.
Tom Beebe was that guy too. Yo,
do y'all remember? Y'all remember when
man, Randall L, bro.
Oh yeah, Antoine Randall L. Yep.
I was gonna say, you want to talk about like fast players, but he was in NCAA. I know
Frazier.
Dante can agree with this, despite him being FSU. Percy Harvin, though.
Oh, Percy Harvin, I will automatically say some of the top 3 players of all time in college.
Percy Harvin won the greatest.
Percy Harvin, Patrick, Peter Warwick.
Oh my God,
Peter Warwick and Ronald Curry.
Ronald Perry, yep.
People hate on Peter Warwick's career when I thought he was great.
You know who they say is the greatest? You know who they say is the greatest Virginia high school football player of all time out of Virginia? You talking about like Ronald Curry and Percy Harvin and Michael Vick. You know what they say is the greatest one out of all of them?
Michael Vick?
No.
Allen
Iverson.
Let's go.
I knew it. Allen Iverson.
Allen
Yeah,
Iverson.
let's go.
He was a quarterback.
I saw his high school highlights. Yeah, when he played quarterback.
Player of the year,
Yeah, that's
and
right,
like
that's right.
people swear that he was the best quarterback that Virginia's ever had. He said himself he was better at football than he was at basketball.
But he got arrested. He got charged
whole
with something.
situation.
He got arrested at that bowling alley. Then John Thompson saved him, so he had to go to DC to go play for Georgetown.
Yeah, I need to ask y'all a question though. What? So I don't know why this moment popped up in my head, but I remember being one of the craziest moments in college football, and this is why I always encourage people to watch college football. Remember the week that Melvin Gordon was in Wisconsin? He ran for like 300 plus yards, and then like a week later, Samaje Perine of Oklahoma beat that yardage like the following week. I saw an interview with him. He was like, "Hey, yo, I thought I had it on lock." And then Samaje went off the following week. He's like, I couldn't even enjoy it for full 7 days.
Yeah.
Like he didn't do interviews thinking that he had time. That's the funny part. He was like, you know what? I'll do them later. Nah, fam, you should have taken full advantage of those interviews when you had the chance.
But I remember like the backfield. USC had one of the most dominant explosive backfields I've ever seen with Lindell
Reggie
White.
Bush, Lindell White.
Oh my God! I was like,
Lindell White was like, people don't talk about him enough, man. He could have won a Heisman on another team.
Once he had to duel with him and Chris Johnson, that was the perfect Thunder and Lightning duo.
That Thunder and Lightning. Remember, I used to make them shirts, and he used to get mad.
I used to love his little touchdown dance. He would go dance with the arms and shit that he used to do when he was.
Lindell White was great, but he was that first dude that like you saw.
Yeah,
he was that first running back that you saw. Like, yo, running backs be getting fat like that again. Like Ironhead Hayward, you knew what it was.
Nah,
and you seen Lindell. And what was my other dude? The other
Jamal
dude,
Anderson. Jamal Anderson was the fattest running back I've ever seen.
Jamal Anderson from the Falcons. He does. Hey, yo, him and Mike Chandler, bro.
Tobel?
Michael Turner?
From the Panthers?
Michael Turner, yo. He has some
Chargers?
Mike Tolbert, yeah.
Oh, you remember Michael Turner?
Yeah,
Michael Turner was a dog, bro. I don't know what happened.
He got the three.
You know what happened to him? It was this. He got pounded, like he got beat up in Atlanta.
Person 370, man.
Yeah.
Who was the other dude that used to play? He used to play for the Panthers, and then he went to the Redskins. He was number 48. Was it Steven Jackson?
Yeah, Steven Jackson.
No, you talking about fuck, what's his name?
It was Steven something. Hold on.
Was it Deshaun Foster?
Nah, Steven Davis. Steven Davis.
Steven Davis. Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, Steven Davis.
Yeah, Steven Davis. Yeah, he was a good one.
Yo, Robert Smith was the truth when I was a kid growing up. Robert Smith was
Smith,
the first player that was like 10 seasons back to back with 1,000 yards.
I remember.
Didn't he quit because he was a doctor? He was a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when he went to high school. The Chiefs,
had other options.
They had Priest Holmes like going off the way he was going off. Then he got Johnson, and he going off, and then he get overcarried. He get hurt. Then they had another nigga came out. I think it was like Derek Blaylock, and he went off. And I was like, oh, they got all these kind of running backs. Oh, what the hell? Where they coming from? He
staples.
Staples,
bro.
Then they got
how come we don't talk about Jamal?
Charles?
No, not Jamal Charles. The one that used to be on the Ravens.
Jamal Lewis.
Yeah, bro. We don't. He's like a forgotten running back that like silently was great in his career.
Rudy Johnson,
greatest Tennessee running back in history.
Greatest Tennessee running back.
That's Jamal Lewis. Jamal Lewis got to be the greatest Tennessee running back.
Really?
Oh, in Tennessee volunteer history. Okay.
Yeah, I would say he is.
I don't know. I'm not privy to their history like that to know who else.
I thought it was like Eddie. You talking about Eddie George and those guys.
Hey, who's the greatest?
Are you talking about college?
Yeah.
Tennessee Volunteers.
Eddie George went over to Ohio State. Yeah.
Well, I asked a question to my guys a couple of weeks ago. I said, "Who's the greatest Tennessee Titans running back?" Eddie George, Charles.
We talking Titans or Oilers combined? Because if we combine
both, I took Earl Campbell out because he's technically a fullback. I'm talking about the best halfback of all time.
Oh, okay.
Chris Johnson.
Fullback? I don't know about that. I think he was.
Yeah, you can't have to separate them because like that always gets brought up in arguments. It's like Earl Campbell and Jim Brown were both fullbacks.
Who says
Larry
that?
Johnson was another one considered a fullback.
That's always like a thing, man. Like on some
They're
forums
not-
that I'm a part of, people are like,
why are they fullbacks? Because they were played in the 50s? That's
fullbacks were because fullbacks were like the main thing before they switched to halfback. Because
Yeah,
fullbacks used to get all the carries. They used to get 100% of the carries, and then they started putting a halfback in, and then they moved the bigger guys.
Those are running backs today, I believe. I think both of them are just big ass. Like Earl Campbell ran, so a guy like Derrick Henry could run, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Thurman Thomas.
Yeah, Thurman Thomas.
Yo, Thurman Thomas,
bro.
absolute monster.
Ricky Waters.
Ricky Waters
is
getting.
Man. That was my man right there, yo.
Yeah, he should get into the Hall of Fame.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he probably should. Roger Craig should be in there too.
Roger Craig,
journeyman.
Fred Taylor should be in there. I don't know why it's taking him so damn long.
Wait, isn't Fred Taylor the fifth leading rusher in NFL history? Isn't he something like fifth or sixth?
Yeah, he's like fifth all time. But the crazy thing about Fred Taylor and what people don't realize, like the dude had like 1,200 yards for like 5 years straight or something like that against.
He only played two full seasons, didn't he?
Yeah, and he only played two full complete seasons. That's why they used to call him Fragile Freddy. But he always ran over 1,000 yards, and also you have to consider the fact that the Ravens defense, he played against them, and the only reason he didn't get 200 yards that game is because he got hurt in the third quarter of that game. Because Ray Lewis even came out and said he would have been the first running back in 2000 when we had the best defense of all time to run on 200 yards on us. And the only reason he didn't is because he got hurt. That's Hall of Fame worthy. Put him in. Put him in.
It's also to note, you never put your feet on Freddie on his grandmother's table. Never put your feet on it.
Also, talking about another
Florida State learned that the hard way.
Corey Dillon doesn't get mentioned. Corey Dillon was the Bengals offense for 5 seasons and then helped the New England Patriots win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Unsung hero of the Packers when they won was Dorsey Levens.
Dorsey Levens was the man. Him, and
Antonio Freeman.
My favorite.
Antonio Freeman.
It was Ward Dunn. Ward Dunn, man. Ward Dunn was one of the dopest running backs.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Oh, man.
Ward Dunn, yeah.
Jamal Charles was a beast when he was in his prime.
What was up with all the Chiefs running backs, man? Like you said, that just
always
get hurt.
Back, man.
The only one was Larry Johnson. After Larry Johnson, he broke the mold. He got hurt one season, but it wasn't anything like.
Wasn't it Priest Holmes before him though? It was Priest Holmes, Larry Johnson, and then Jamal Charles.
No, I think it was Priest Holmes. Then went Jamal Charles. Then went Larry Johnson. I think Jamal Charles.
No. Jamal Charles was the last.
Yeah, Jamal Charles was the last one.
Yeah, he was the last.
Before Larry Johnson.
And then they had what's his name? That's on the Browns right now that y'all been trying to get.
Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, they actually have 4. Priest Holmes, Larry Johnson, Jamal Charles, and
you also forget about Marcus Allen. They have Marcus Allen.
That's true too.
Yeah.
Damn.
That team was sick that night.
Like an AK-47, bro. Next running back up. Click.
Right. Yeah, that was sick. Well, fellas, we're approaching 2 hours. So let me just ask this question because we all started this off with Eagles. So let me just go around real quick. Let's bring it back. What is everyone's expectation for tomorrow's game against the Titans? I'll start off with you, Sora.
Well, first of all, I think you're gonna see a very motivated AJ Brown. He's had this game circled the entire season. Titans got a pretty bad secondary. They got a great front seven, but they got a really bad secondary. So I'm expecting a lot of passing attempts, and I am expecting AJ Brown, hopefully fully healthy this time, because I do know we all saw the picture. That man was not okay. That man had a bloodshot vessel pop in his eye. I'm pretty sure I said that wrong, but it is what it is. I'm not a
blood
doctor.
Vessel pop. Yeah.
Thank you.
You only play one on TV.
Yeah. Listen. Wait a minute. Where's my money then? But yeah, it should be a good game. It's definitely going to be stressful watching the defense, though. I can say that with full confidence. I am going to be stressed.
Yeah, I feel you, especially against that rushing attack. Shay, what are your thoughts on the matchup again on Sunday?
I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be closer than we probably imagine. It'll probably be. I can probably see it being somewhere between 3 points to a touchdown. But I think at the end of the day, the good guys will come out on top. Um, let's say about 27-24.
Ooh, I like that. Dante, what are your thoughts?
Um, I think you guys will. I think it's gonna be a close game. I'm gonna just put it like that.
Oh, it's definitely gonna be close.
It's gonna be a close game. I think you guys actually lose this one though. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. I think you guys lose this one. It's just I think Derrick Henry is gonna be too much, and it's not necessarily gonna be their passing game. And then once he gets going, I mean, having Treylon Burks there and Ryan Tannehill and Austin Hooper starting to come into his own on that offense now, like. And the only thing that you guys are going to have to be worried about is that their defense sucks, especially when it
Yep.
comes to the running game. So I think what you're going to see is two great running games out of both sides, and one that's just going to get one unfortunate turnover, maybe a Kevin Byard interception to kind of seal the game up. But
Yeah.
because Kevin Byard to me is still one of the best safeties in the league that nobody ever talks about. That's going to end up in the Hall of Fame one day because you're going to look back in his career and he's going to have 100+ interceptions or something ridiculous. But that's how I see it. But I think it's 24-27. It comes down to that last minute field goal or something like that, and they squeak out the game. But it's gonna be a good one though. I'm gonna watch the whole thing.
It's gonna be tough because if I'm not mistaken, the Titans have a myriad of injuries, especially on that defensive front.
The defense,
If I'm
yeah.
not-
Yeah.
Jeffrey
They
Simmons
just
won't be
lost
playing. That's a big point
one
for
of their
us.
edges.
Yeah, but Tim, let me get your thoughts. What are your expectations for the game on Sunday?
This is going to be a physical game, so you're going to whoever wins in the trenches in the turnover battle.
Ooh,
If you can force a turnover, we already know what the Titans are going to do. They're going to attack the edges of the football field. They're going to run outside. Because obviously John Gannon likes to play passive aggressive type of defense. So they're gonna be passing the ball behind the line of scrimmage and then screen games and that type of stuff. So um, I'm just hoping for the win and turnover battle on that one. So I'm not scared of Tannehill. That's just me. I'm just not scared.
yeah. I
I
don't
don't
think
think
I don't
I,
think
I
anyone's
don't think
fearing
none of us
Tannehill.
are scared of Tannehill. So
No, I think this is like it may be difficult because of the rushing game, but other than that, listen, if they want to pass the ball, they can try. They really don't have any receivers. Robert Woods, I think, is their number one right now. That's their best receiver. Austin Hooper, probably I should say, is their best receiver at the moment. The rushing game is the only thing that scares me. Derrick Henry, because at any moment, like we said, he can let loose. If we can control that, then I'm pretty sure this game could be won handily. But before I go on, let me just say, because as a former lineman, I got to show my guys some love, and these two linemen specifically need to be mentioned. Now, since Sunday's game, Jason Kelsey has been the lineman with the most starts as a lineman with 170 starts. So first of all, I like to say congratulations to him because that's a great feat. Not many can say they've done that. You know what I'm saying? Not even a lot of players can say they had 170 starts under their belt. So,
Yep.
shouts out to Jason Kelsey. And also,
Hall of
can't
Famer.
forget my guy, Lane Johnson. It has been 2 calendar years, excuse me, since he has let up a sack. So for that, you know what I'm saying, my guy, appreciate you both. You have both been, stalwart professionals, great captains on this team. You've been anchors on that line. And you know what I'm saying? From linemen, I got to show my appreciation. Y'all are the reason why we are going as far as we're going. We don't go anywhere without our line. So, we got to take care of the big guys up front, and you got to show appreciation for the big guys up front. So appreciate both y'all. But lastly, gentlemen, let me get your scoring predictions. I'll start off with you, Tim.
I'm gonna go 21-24. Go Birds.
I like it. I like it. Dante, what do you think? What are the score predictions?
I said it before. I'll say it again. 27-24. Give me the Titans.
I like it. Shay, what are your thoughts? What's the scoring prediction?
Yeah, I had a 27-24 Eagles. Go Birds.
That's right. Go Birds. Sora, what's your prediction?
28-24 Eagles.
Listen, I'm gonna say the Eagles will win handily. You see it behind me. You know I'm gonna pick them. But I'm gonna say the Eagles are gonna win this one. The 31-17. It's gonna be a good game at first, but as we know, in the second half, Eagles will pull away with a win. But This has been a
Like it.
great week, another great episode. Gentlemen, I appreciate you all for taking out the time to come on. Let's just go around the horn. Let everyone know where they can find you. Sora, I'll start off with you.
Yeah, y'all can find me on Twitter at Papa_Fuchs, Fuchs spelled Fuchs, and y'all can also find me on YouTube with the boys over at East Coast Gridiron. Just Google it, you'll find us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Shay, let the people at home know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can follow me on Con Mozambique One. That's a CONMOZAMBIQE one. Yeah, I'll be on there still having this Twitter Spaces, man. So come check us out.
Definitely, definitely. Listen, if you're out there on Twitter, man, you got to check out Shay's Twitter Spaces. It is, first of all, hilarious. You will hear comments that you probably have never heard. Some people will come up with some wild takes, but there are a lot of people that know what they're talking about, and it's great conversation, especially if you want to get some things off your chest after a loss. Yeah, I implore you to go to Shay's Spaces. I appreciate you for coming through, my guy.
Yeah, our spaces are called Bird's Eye View too. So check it out, Bird's Eye View. Look out for
Definitely
us.
check it out.
It's a great name.
Appreciate it.
Dante, let the folks at home know where they can find you.
Google East Coast Gridiron. You'll find all our stuff.
DONE. Tim, let everybody know where they can find you.
Oh man, on Twitter, y'all know what it is. It's King K. Same thing on the IG, King Fly Jones. Hit us up, man. We Swoop Boys. You know what I mean? Coming at you Wednesday
Appreciate
every
you.
night. Yes,
Hey,
sir. Yes,
gentlemen,
sir.
it was another great show. I appreciate y'all for taking out the time. I am your host, Vick3. For my guy, Coach Dante, he could not be here because of technical difficulties. Appreciate you for coming through. Everyone at home, I hope you all have a great weekend. Have a great night. This has been another great episode, fellas. Everyone, have a good one. We out.